Ken Squire here at Daytona, where throughout this entire week, one name has been on everyone's lips. That's Earnhardt. The Intimidator has been invincible. He has won 3 races in the past 7 days. And the question to my racing colleague, David Hobbs, is, can anybody whip him?
Well, Ken, forecasting race winners is a chancy business at best. But everybody that should know down in the pit area has really given this race to Dale Earnhardt. But it's a very strong pursuing pack. Davey Allison on the pole. Richard Petty in his 31st start, running incredibly well. And relative newcomers, Ernie Urban and Hut Strickland, looking good. But the chances of any of these drivers just flat winning this race are, to be quite honest, pretty slim. But Dale Earnhardt knows that races can be lost as well. And one way this race could be lost this year is with the new pit stop procedures instituted by NASCAR over the winter. Well, our NASCAR guru is Ned Jarrett, and Ned knows all about these rules and procedures. Let us know, Ned.
David, pit and race strategy will certainly be different here than any past Daytona we have ever seen. When cars would come down pit road and take on 4 new tires during caution flags, that won't happen today. Now, the new pit road rules have been in effect here for more than a week in the preliminary events, but none of those are 500 miles, so the real test of the new rules will come today. Pit road in the past had become a traffic jam under yellow flag conditions as cars darted in and out to take advantage of the caution. With all the emphasis on speed for both car and crew, the pits had become a dangerous place to work. Last year, there were several incidents. One at Talladega where some crewmen were hurt, and in Atlanta, Mike Rich, a member of Bill Elliott's crew, was killed in this incident. So with a number of pit road mishaps, NASCAR formulated new pit rules for this year, and on Wednesday they were explained to the drivers and crew chiefs.
The second pace car will pick you up in turn 2.
With 2 pace cars, 1 pace car will lead the cars around the track as usual. A second pace car will take cars wishing to pit down pit road. In an effort to avoid mass pitting under yellow, no tire changes will be allowed. In addition, cars will be designated odd or even based on their starting position, not car number. Odd cars will display a blue sticker, even cars an orange sticker. Following caution on the second green flag lap, the odd cars can pit. On the third green flag lap, even cars can pit. This will stagger the cars along pit road. Penalties will be enforced for cars violating these rules. A NASCAR inspector will hold cars in their pits. There will be 1 lap and 15-second penalties assessed. These penalties will start once all work on the car has been completed. Drivers and their crews are now trying to figure out new pitting strategies.
Look at the different situations we could get into if we're going to pick one of these 2 pits, basically.
That's 3 times more dangerous on the green stop pitting down there.
Yeah.
At Daytona, or a bigger track, I think it's got a better chance of working than it has on a shorter track. So it's all up in there. Everybody's just going to have to go out and run just as hard as you can, do the best you can, and just, again, if circumstances is right, the way things fall, then you'll be all right.
It is a bit confusing, but everyone is trying to make it work. Let's go down on pit road and meet the man they're all talking about. He's standing by with Dave Despain.
If we believed every word that had been written and said about this race, we'd give Dale Earnhardt the checkered flag and the money right now. How about it, Dale? Do you think you're as good as everybody says you are today?
Well, we hope so, Dave. The car's been working good all week, and, you know, it's the Daytona 500. There's a lot of competitive cars here, and it's a long day today, so you've got to run good all day long. You got to have the luck with you, too. So, you know, we proved that last week that last year here, you don't win it by this car alone. You win it by a little luck to go with it.
Real quick, you're not the kind of guy that lets the pressure that everybody's put on you get to you, do you?
Well, we haven't yet, so hopefully we can withstand the pressure. We just want to get today behind us and see if we come on victory lane.
Let's go across pit road to Mike Joy.
The blue number 1 on the steering wheel hub signifies where Richard Petty sits in the minds of many race fans, but here it means he pits with the blue group today when we go back to green. How about it, Richard? 31 Daytona 500s, win number 8 today?
I don't know. We can try it. That's about all we can do. If we got some good luck, we're finished good, and you know, we'll just have to go see what happens.
Well, you've been trying hard all week. Second place in the qualifying race has you the pick of many people in the stands.
Well, we had a good start anyway. This makes us feel good, makes the team feel good. Naturally, it makes the driver feel good that the car is running good. So now it's just up to us.
Richard Petty starting from the second row. Let's rejoin Dave Despain.
Davey Allison is one of the guys tired of hearing the question, can anybody beat Dale Earnhardt? I think maybe the question for Davey Allison is, can you win the Daytona 500 today?
Well, Dave, we feel like we've got a real good car today. We've been working on it all week, and it's done nothing but get better. Robert and all the guys in the engine shop have done a super job for me, and Jake and the guys on the crew have really given me what I've asked for in this race car. So we're real optimistic. You know, it's 500 miles, anything can happen, but we're going to give it our best shot.
There's a confident man. We'll be back to fire the engines for the 33rd running of the Daytona 500 right after this timeout.
Gentlemen, start your engines.
Ladies and gentlemen, the starting grid as they have qualified for the 33rd annual Daytona 500. Winning his first pole at nearly 196 miles per hour, the Ford of Davey Allison. Alongside making his third start in the 500, Ernie Urban in a Chevrolet. Starting third, looking for his 8th 500 win, Richard Petty in a Pontiac. And then the overwhelming favorite, Dale Earnhardt. In row 3, it's the Buick of the newest member of the Alabama gang, Hut Strickland and Kyle Petty. Row 4, the Oldsmobile of Rick Mast and Roger Penske's car with Rusty Wallace aboard. Row 5 is Ricky Rudd, the same car he crashed last Sunday in the Busch Clash, and the '89 winner Darrell Waltrip. Row 6 is Harry Gant and Sterling Marlin, now carrying the Junior Johnson colors. Row 7 is Michael Waltrip's Pontiac and Joe Ruttman back with the Raymock team. In row 8, it's the '85 and '87 champion Bill Elliott and the 1980 winner Buddy Baker. Row 9, Dale Jarrett driving for the Wood Brothers and Mark Martin in his Ford. Row 10 is Jeff Bodine, the '86 Daytona champion, and rookie Bobby Hamilton. Row 11, Jim Sauter making his first 500 start in 5 years, and Jeff Purvis in the Neil Bonnet car. Row 12 is Jimmy Spencer in the Travis Carter machine and Ken Schrader. Row 13, Greg Sachs carrying the Navy colors and Rick Wilson in his 7th Daytona start. In row 14, it's Alan Kowicki with the U.S. Army colors and Dick Trickle, car number 66. Row 15, Phil Barkdahl from Arizona and Chad Little from out in the Northwest. Row 16, Terry Labonte, the '84 Winston Cup champion, and the sprint car champion, Sammy Swindell. Row 17, last year's surprise winner, Derek Cope from Spanaway, Washington, and Morgan Shepherd. Row 18, Robbie Gordon from Los Angeles and Bobby Hillen Jr. from Texas. The 19th row is Ted Musgrave, a short track specialist trying the high banks for the first time, and Mickey Gibbs. Row 20, Jimmy Means from Alabama and Eddie Bierswale. Row 21, the provisional starter, Brett Bodine, back from a nasty crash in the Thursday 125-mile qualifier, and Dave Marcus rounds out the field. All 42 cars have moved off pit road on the first of the 2 preliminary laps, and you're looking at Mark Martin carrying one of our 4-5 CBS onboard cameras today. Mark, you've got some running to do out here today if you want to catch your old nemesis Earnhardt.
We'll catch him before the day's over. We're just got to be smart here. We're at this traffic right. Take the Folgers Thunderbird right on up there. I don't think it's going to be a problem. We just don't want to get tore up before we get there.
Understand you had a cracked oil pan that had to be fixed.
Yeah, but, you know, this Roush team is the best. They put together bulletproof cars. And if I don't wreck this thing, we'll be fine, you know. And that's why I say we'll be careful and we'll get up there.
Good luck to you this afternoon.
Thank you.
Mark Martin, who says he's not here to smell the roses, not here to live life, he's here to race.
He looked a little subdued there, Ken, maybe a little uptight.
As they finish the first lap, change in the lineup, Sammy Swindell, the veteran sprint car driver from the World of Outlaws, was starting 32nd, has fallen to the rear, and he's driving a backup car since he crashed out here with Dorsey Schrader in the 3rd turn of the 125-miler. But he is on the field, but he'll come out of the last row now. Here's Dave Despain.
Two key issues are going to dictate the pace down here on pit road today. One of those is fuel. The gas men are really under a lot of heat today to make those gas stops effectively. That has always been true. But in the past, the reasons for coming on pit road essentially twofold. One is fuel and one is tires. Now, only fueling can be done under the yellow. A lot of teams feel they're going to have to do the majority of their pitting for fuel and for tires under green flag conditions, and that means the heat is on.
And Dave, since they can only take on tires under green, the teams have mounted up far less than in the past. Usually we'd see 10 full sets, 40 tires at nearly $200 a piece lined up here behind the Dale Earnhardt pit. There's only 4 sets here and one up on the wall ready to go on the car.
Take a look at these new pit boards along pit road, part of the new procedure out here.
Of course, everyone hanging those signs out so their drivers will know where their pits are in the neon colors. Very easy for the drivers to read, and their number is the only one they're interested in.
And of course they are absolutely vital, because if you cross the line at the front of the pit, you get a 15-second penalty.
5 of the cars carry very special sponsors today. There you see Buddy Baker sporting the colors of the Marines. Alan Kowicki in number 7 is the Army car, starting 27th. Mickey Gibbs will be out here for the U.S. Air Force today, and his number 24 out of the 38th position. There's the Navy car, number 18, Greg Sachs, who thought this whole idea up. And Dave Marcus way out back for the Coast Guard as we get set for a go. And we've had a phone call from Sergeant Patrick Lang from Ludington, Michigan, called from a hospital in Saudi Arabia, thanking everyone for the coverage. Said they were all in tears as they were watching the preliminaries to this 500. Here's Chris Economaki.
The first 100,000 people on the ground today got one of these free American flags, and many people are sorry they didn't get up earlier because they're looking for them. It's a great day here at Daytona.
Out of turn 4. Field moving down for a start. Onboard cameras with Richard Petty, Dale Earnhardt, and Mark Martin at the outset. We'll be able to switch to Davey Allison and Jeff Bodine during the race. You're riding with Dale Earnhardt, the man who won 9 races last year, now with Richard Petty, getting ready for a lap this time by, and they will be going green 1 from now.
Well, Ned said that Mark Martin was looking a bit apprehensive. I tell you, the start of a race like this, especially after those pre-race ceremonies, I think subdued us all. And of course, the weight of the moment has come on probably stronger than ever, which is why Mark Martin was probably looking just a little bit thoughtful.
I'm sure the drivers, like many of the rest of us, were a little choked up during that.
This is a camera on Richard Petty's helmet. This is as he sees the banking. It's a little different from the pictures you've seen before.
Well, high tech, of course, comes to town with these onboard cameras, and quite frankly, it never looks quite the same to me as it does when you really are in a race car. But this helmet cam on Richard Petty, we do get the feeling of speed, the violence as he goes over the bumps on those banking. It shows up much better on those. I'm sure we'll see more of them.
And you really get an idea of the lack of visibility out of these race cars. Green this time by. It's a cool, brisk day. It's warmed up now into the 50s here at Daytona, but they've taken some extra time in warming the motors, getting us down for a start. Like for a start right now, gentlemen, you both said out there.
It's an ancient moment, no doubt about it. This is the Super Bowl of stock car racing, the first race of the year. They have prepared all winter to get to this race, to get in it, and now to run for the big dollars in front of a national, international crowd.
Well, as much pressure as you're ever going to find in any race car anywhere, and of course the key is that it is their Super Bowl of racing, and of course it's the first race of the season. So tremendous amount of pressure on all these teams and drivers, and of course the rewards are so high, as Chris said, and so much responsibility to sponsors and this sort of thing that it's very difficult.
Pace car brings them down. Watch for him to dip in just a moment. And let's listen as the Daytona 500 comes to life. Break into turn number 1. It's Davey Allison jumping out in front, and Ernie Urban goes into second spot. Calls himself Swervin' Urban. See what he's going to do. Notice that Kyle Petty is just up in front of his dad here as they head down the backstretch for the first time.
Passing already starting, going into turn 3. There's Earnhardt moving up on Ernie Urban. He isn't going to waste much time, Ken, trying to go to the front.
That's what we may see all day. That car runs on a rail on the bottom of the racetrack. Earnhardt on the bottom for second.
Shaking his fist at somebody already. I think he got tagged there, by the way. He took a big bite of that wheel. Crossed the stripe for the first time. Davey Allison still leads, but just look at the way that Dale Earnhardt's able to stay out of the draft and just pulled by our pole sitter, Davey Allison.
That's pure horsepower, David.
And it's incredible handling. He can run anywhere he wants, as he proved a week ago in the Busch Clash. High, middle, low. This number 3 will track.
A lot of hearts already sinking as they watch Dale Earnhardt disappear.
He has dominated, I mean dominated, led 80% of the NASCAR races he has been here in the past 7 days. 400 of 475 miles.
Ken, one thing that these drivers had on their mind, there's 5 bonus points for leading a race in Winston Cup competition. Now Davey Allison has those 5 bonus points, and so does Dale Earnhardt, and they count those up as the year goes by. It becomes very important for them.
And of course, we're seeing another classic NASCAR Winston Cup phenomenon here, and that is the dynamic duo, Davey Allison and Dale Earnhardt, hooking up there and trying to pull away from that pack that's duking it out behind them. And so far, they seem to be very successfully doing that.
Further back, Rusty Wallace is in third. Hut Strickland in fourth. Now here comes Ernie Urban back to fourth. Hut Strickland to fifth, and that's allowing those leaders to get away as they run side by side a little further back. And note Rusty Wallace in the 2 car. The Roger Penske team making an entry into Winston Cup racing with Wallace. A report from Mike Joy.
Ken, if you have a good close look at the left front corner of Dale Earnhardt's car, you'll find not everybody here is a fan of his. He has hit a seagull in a critical part of that car, right in the inlet for the oil cooler. Richard Childress wants to know what it looks like from your point of view.
Anybody see feathers?
It looks like, yeah, it looks like they're on the left front of the car, that maybe there is something hanging on there.
Indeed there is.
Now, how much of the airflow has it cut off going into the radiator?
Well, said all week that fate could play a part, and the only thing that could stop him, maybe it already has begun to show its head here, that fate again bothered Dale Earnhardt.
One way to lose a race. Boy, if he loses, he'll be pretty distraught. An idea of the speed there as they go past the banking. We have some great speed shots here. The CBS guys have put some great speed shots. But I always think one of the best speed shots is when you look out of the car and watch that wall going by.
Well, as Dale Earnhardt looks down the long backstretch, you can see what he's looking into as he goes into that turn. Rusty Wallace has caught up to Davey Allison and Dale Earnhardt.
There you see the black number 2 running in third position. And Ernie Urban in fourth, Ricky Rudd in fifth. And Hut Strickland, a 30-year-old from Alabama, driving for Bobby Allison just behind them in sixth. Sense of speed out of turn number 4. Just incredible, inches apart, 42 strong.
Four laps down.
A thought from Chris Economaki.
Well, we're watching the early laps here. Richard Petty, the focus of many fans' attention. His son, Kyle, pulled alongside a moment ago and then waved bye-bye and put him a couple of car lengths behind. The Pettys are doing extremely well today.
We may be able to see what happened to Earnhardt out here.
Yeah, you can see right there. The bird flew right into the left corner of his Chevrolet. I don't believe, Ken, that there's enough covered the air intake area that it would affect it too much. Fouled up his aerodynamics for just a moment, but
we might be able to look at his instrument panel, of course, from that onboard camera. We can see all his key instruments. Richard Petty, after going so well in the 125-mile qualifiers, is slipping way towards the back of this field, back in the 16th spot.
Yeah.
A report from Dave Despain.
We all know Dale Earnhardt's strategy. It's always to go to the front. But Davey Allison sat on the pole for this race, and I'm wondering, Robert Yates, car owner, what's your plan for dealing with Dale Earnhardt? What's your strategy for dealing with a 3-car?
Well, Jake wanted to make sure he led that first lap, and then he said just follow Earnhardt, so everything's working like it right now.
We've understood that there might be a report your car's running hot. Anything to that?
Well, right now in the draft, we might be a little bit. We'll open up some of that when we make our stop.
So they need to get some air to that car, but they're pretty comfortable with the pace.
Here's Richard Petty back in 16th spot. Reviewing back a little further, in 10th at the present time is Martin, 11th is Sterling Marlin, 12th is Rick Mast, 13th is Bill Elliott, 14th Bodine, 15th Schrader. Now,
there right in front is Dale Jarrett. How's the kid feeling today, Ned?
Looks pretty good. He felt good this morning about the car, the way it handled, and he's looking forward to this Daytona 500, his first in a Wood Brothers car.
And with that move by Dale Jarrett, Petty slips further back. With 9 of 200 laps complete, let's look at the standings. At that time, Earnhardt up in front. In the second position was Davey Allison. Maintaining third, California's Ernie Urban. Going fourth was Ricky Rudd. In the fifth position, Kyle Petty. Front 5, Joe Ruttman was then running 6. In 7th, Hut Strickland. The 8th position, Rusty Wallace at 9. Buddy Baker in 9th position, the 1980 winner of the event. Mark Martin was then in 10th. Mark Martin has now pulled into 9th position and continues to close on the leaders. Here are those leaders. And here you see Martin in the number 6 car moving in on number 2, Rusty Wallace, for 8th spot.
Rusty Wallace was running right at the head of this group. Seems to have slipped back into a second group. You can see that fairly big gap behind Joe Ruttman in the car number 75, who's done extremely well to tag on to that front quintet. Joe Ruttman coming from 14th to 5th.
Ride with Mark Martin for just a moment in car number 6 from his 18th position. Dave Despain is in Richard Petty's pit.
And here for so many years we would be talking to Dale Inman, Richard's cousin and crew chief for so many of those 7 Daytona 500 wins. He's up on the roof. He's a spotter now. And Robbie Loomis gets the call to talk to the TV reporters and tell us what's happening to Richard, who's gone from 3rd to 7th. We've
got a car in trouble. It's number 2. That's Swindell. Swindell, who crashed here in the 125-mile qualifier, loops the Moroso car. First caution is out. Comes as they finish lap 13. There's the new flags. That's the old flag, actually. You're going to see a couple of new ones in a moment. Closing pit road.
That is what this flag is all about. The red flag with the yellow cross stripes just mean that they cannot come into the pits until this pace car has picked them up. Now, the pace car has picked them up, as we see. So the green flag will be out here shortly, so they can come into the pits. There's the pace car, and the second pace car coming out now. And that's the car that will lead them down pit road, anyone who chooses to make a pit stop during a caution.
And when they come in, they cannot change tires. Other things they can do, they could change windshield. They can pull out some sheet metal. They can jack a little weight. But they cannot change tires, trying to protect those people on the right side of the car on pit road. After this period under caution, the race will go back to green. 1 lap later, cars that carry a little blue sticker on them that pitted in odd pits will be able to come on pit road if they need tires, and a lap later the even pitted cars will come on pit road.
Okay, car number 20 has come into the pits. Now, he came in while the cross flags were still out. There will be a penalty. The penalty for him will be that he'll have to go to the rear of the field regardless of who makes pit stop. Now you see the green flag is waving, so anyone can pit now. You'll see the pace car, the second pace car coming down pit road. I doubt if we'll see many of the cars pit this early in the race.
No one among the leaders electing to come in. Now finishing the 15th lap now.
Those back towards the rear of the pack, if they need adjustments, yes, we are going to see some of them coming in. They really don't have a great deal to lose because they aren't giving up track position.
8 cars deciding to come in now. included Terry Labonte, who finished second here a year ago, and Morgan Shepherd, Phil Barkdahl out of Arizona.
Brett Bodine coming in, who had that horrendous crash on Thursday afternoon, but he's out in his spare car.
Dave Marcus is there. Jimmy Means is in as well. Eddie Bierschwale on pit road. And Robbie Gordon, the off-road racer out of California. The Don Levy car is one of the first out. Now you see the 71 coming on. Dave Marcus under caution. Cars in the back of the field taking this opportunity to make some adjustments, make some changes, hopefully run a little stronger.
And of course to fill it up with fuel, top it off. They've run 15 laps now, so that gives them that much longer that they can stay out on the racetrack if the green should stay out for a long period of time.
First caution of the day in the 33rd annual Daytona 500.
This, of course, is when this caution rule can catch you out. Sammy Swindell spins, brings out the caution flag, and after a spin like that, obviously his tires are completely finished, so he absolutely has to fit new tires. But by fitting them under the caution, he immediately incurs yet another lap penalty. It looks like he's going to lose a couple in the pits anyway. No, they're going to let him out now. Good sponsor that. That's another First Brands company, Glad, and they're having their fight against waste here this week. A big recycling program that his new sponsors instituting down here.
Bartlett, Tennessee campaigner who was twice champion in sprint car racing, the World of Outlaws, which is a tough circuit that runs twice annually across the country. Let's go to Chris Economaki.
Well, 37.5 miles are in the book. We talked with Junior Johnson this morning. He's the owner of Jeff Bodine and Sterling Marlin's cars, about how far they could go on a tank full of gas. And Junior smiled and said, "We're going to go on 2.5 stops."
2.5, huh? Here's Dave Despain.
Well, that's one pit strategy. Another unfolding here in the Richard Petty pit. Now, Richard was a good example of the questions you have to ask yourself on this yellow flag. All up and down the pit road, everyone was poised, thinking their driver may stop. Frankly, I think a lot of that is just habit. This was not a pit stop on which most cars would want to come in. But Richard has fallen from 3rd to about 17th in the field. Is there something wrong with the car? Might they stop and fix it? They considered it. They think their big problem is simply acceleration on the start, and that once the tires are worn, they can keep up, so they did not stop. Let's go to Mike.
Dave, here's your standard oil filter on the right side of the screen, and the new filter for NASCAR racing on the left has a much bigger opening and bigger filter area. It allows some of these cars to run as much as 15 degrees cooler. But this is not the brand of filter used by the Dale Earnhardt team, so he's keeping a very close eye on that oil temperature gauge with the Seagull, part of him in the inlet, for that oil cooler. Engine Builder of the Year Ed Lanier says if the temperature gets to 240, they'll begin to be concerned, and if it reaches 250, they will have to bring Dale in and clean out that inlet.
Well, that was a misfortune for that Seagull, and it could be for Dale Earnhardt. Now here's car number 90. This is Robbie Gordon. There's a stop and go on him as he went above the line coming out of the pits following his time down here making an adjustment on the Don Levy Ford.
And there's a 1-lap penalty on the Sammy Swindell car, number 20, because he came in before the pits were open. We're about ready to go green, Tim.
Pace car is in as they come to the stripe. Davey Allison is first, Earnhardt second, Ernie Urban third, Kyle Petty fourth, Joe Ruttman running very well up to fifth, Hutch Strickland and the Bobby Allison car running in sixth. Field on a break into turn number 1, back to green flag conditions. This coming as they commence the 18th lap. Davey Allison pulls away for just a moment. That should not be for long. Here comes Earnhardt. First 5, Allison, Earnhardt, Urban, Petty, Ruttman on the break.
And we have a note that Alan Kowicki is having major handling problems with his car. Ken, he's back in 23rd position now in the car sponsored by the Army, or that is carrying the colors of the Army, I should say. They aren't sponsoring.
Joe Ruttman making a big dive down the inside of Kyle Petty and Ernie Urban there and getting into 3rd spot. Joe Ruttman running like a real bear this afternoon. Qualified way down in 14th spot. I say way down, 14th spot, 193 as opposed to 195.5 miles an hour. Good run this afternoon, though.
What a run back here as you watch Kyle Petty on the inside, and the draft on the outside has Hut Strickland in the 12, Ricky Rudd in the 5, Mark Martin in the 6, all wheeling by, and here comes Sterling Marlin as well in the new Junior Johnson
Kyle
colors.
Petty just simply got caught down on the inside, no one to draft with, and they went right around him. Mark Martin in a similar position as Sterling Marlin goes around him on the outside. Now Kyle Petty might be able to pick up Mark Martin, but Martin wants to get back in line, and I don't blame him.
Sterling Marlin looked very formidable in that last training period yesterday afternoon. He looked strong. Also, Waltrip looked pretty good in that last hour following the 300. Now we have one car coming on pit road. It may have tapped the wall. It looks like it's Bodine. Limping on a pit road, right front tire down on car number 26, the Kenny Bernstein car.
Boy, they have had some tough luck here during speed weeks. He demolished a car in the 125-mile qualifying races. Now it looks like that he has scraped either another car or the wall one, having trouble getting the jack under it as that tire flat. You can see the coming apart as he came into the pits.
And that happened right up here in turn 4, where he was brushed by Bobby Hamilton, stuffed into the wall, then came almost head-on across the track into the inside retainer. Lap down is Brett Bodine. Up in front, Davey Allison stays in first. Crew working to put Brett Bodine back in this race.
Got a problem under the car there. Yeah. And the car's in the wall.
And there's trouble over in turn 2.
2 cars in the wall. That is Rick Wilson in the number 8 car, and right behind him, the man who won the 400 here back in '87, Greg Sachs, and a little fire coming out from beneath Rick Wilson's car as they kept them up in the wall.
Fortunately, they were able to keep them up into the wall, and that's what they wanted to do. They did not want to careen down across the track in front of the other cars, so they were able to keep them up there. Both of those cars look like they're damaged too much to continue, but we'll see.
That's a carbon copy of what happened to me on my one and only Daytona 500. Went into the wall just coming out of one, and my only thought was all those guys have been pestering me in the garage for weeks. Don't come off the wall, and did exactly that, just held it on the wall.
Rick Wilson had tried to make a move. He was trying to move around Rusty Wallace. There you see it, and gets up in the wall. Greg Sachs getting caught up in this.
Rick Wilson did well to hold that up in the wall after that, because it comes around, slaps the back, but he's just determined to make sure it stays up there.
Sachs in the Navy car, the 18. Wilson driving for the first time for the Stavola brothers. Walking away, Bartow, Florida's Rick Wilson, angry and disappointed.
Talking to Greg Sachs, they're explaining what happened to each other.
Harry Hyde, the crew chief on the number 8 car, and Sachs in with his own team this year, owner and driver. Hard way to start the year. Under caution for the second time, 21 laps are complete. 21 down, 200 to be run in the 33rd annual Daytona 500. And the standings after 21 laps here in this February event has Davey Allison first, Earnhardt sustaining second, Ernie Urban willing to ride in third. The 4th position is Hut Strickland, had a great 125-mile qualifier, and Joe Ruttman, who back in the early 80s drove for Raymock Racing, back running 5th with that team this year. Ricky Rudd is in 6th for Rick Hendrick Stables, and in 7th is Sterling Marlin. Mark Martin still on the move up to 8th. Rick Mast, who we saw drive in '89 to 6th place at the end of the 500, is 9th, and Kyle Petty rounds out the top 10. Here's the 18 car of Sachs being brought in. That one's done for the day. Here's a report from Mike Joy.
Richard Childress owns Dale Earnhardt's car, and he spent a lot of time in Victory Lane already this week. What's he telling you about that oil cooler blockage?
Well, we're watching it right now. It don't seem to be a problem. If it got up around 240 or 250, we'd start getting concerned.
Now, Robert Yates was just here, the crew chief of the leading car driven by Davey Allison, and he usually doesn't come to pay a social call in the middle of the race. What's going on here?
Well, we just wanted to talk about some stuff, you know, and the bird.
The Thunderbird or the other bird?
Right now, the other bird.
Okay, well, nobody's been able to beat these two black cars all week. Let's see what happens when the green flag comes back out. Here's Dave Despain.
Bobby Allison's a busy guy this week. He's a former winner of the 500, 1988. He is the father of the pole sitter Davey Allison, but perhaps most importantly, he's the car owner for number 12, Hut Strickland. I counted him 4th that time, Brian. You got a big smile on your face.
Well, he's running good. Hut's giving that Ray Bestis Buick a good ride for us, and you know, we're enjoying Davey out there showing the way right now too.
I know how much you hated giving up that steering wheel, but how does it feel to be a successful car owner?
Well, I'll tell you, it's just a lot nicer here than it was in that hospital room. Ain't quite as good as being out there, but the boys are working hard to give me a good time. We appreciate that.
Any mixed emotions, Mom? How about it, Judy?
Yeah, I think it's really good that Hut's doing a good job like that, and we're really proud of him, and we're proud of Davey too, you know. We'd like to say hi to all family at home, especially our grandchildren.
Okay. Have a good day here. That's the Allison family reunion on pit road. Let's go back to Ken Squire.
And it's really great to see them back. And remember that year '88 when Bobby and Davey, father and son, drove across the finish line 1-2. And here's Davey sitting on the pole for the first time, currently leading the man in black, Earnhardt. And of course, the number 12 is Bobby Allison's car. There is Hut Strickland out of Alabama. His name was Wyman, and no one quite knows how he got the name Hut. He never was a football player, so it couldn't have come from there, but he wasn't too infatuated with his given name, so he called himself Hut.
Okay.
30 years old.
I think I would if I was called Wyman.
I'll tell you, he's a good race driver. He is in his 3rd year in full-time Winston Cup competition. And now with the car that'll take him to the front, he has brought it there. He has a lot of confidence, too.
And a part of the Allison family, more or less.
He married into the Allison family. His wife, Pam, is the daughter of Donnie Allison, of course, who is the brother of Bobby Allison.
How about it, Mike? What do you know about Hut?
Well, since you asked, Ken, and since we have time, Hut's dad is Waymond Strickland with a W. His twin brother is Raymond Strickland with an L. And they finally got a little brother named Raymond. So Hut is Waymond Jr. And he hung around his dad's salvage yard where everybody has 3- and 4-letter nicknames, and the one they just threw on him was Hut. Really didn't get popularized until he started driving race cars, and people couldn't figure out the Waymond, Layman, Raymond deal, so he is still, and always will be, Hut Strickland. Here's Chris.
Well, Joe Ruttman in car 75 started 14th, and he's up to 5th place. Joe Ruttman last year, for lack of sponsorship, sat out the season. We encountered him in some races. He was working for a catering company, waiting on tables in the suites and racetracks, bringing food to those people who were backing other drivers. Now he's back at the wheel and likes it very much, and he's done a great job today.
Fastest caterer we know right there, Joe Ruttman in car number 75.
Well, the questions about the new pit rules can remain to be answered, but we're getting down to answer time. Remember on Thursday here, the twin 125s, we saw that a lot of these cars can run 125 miles without problem on fuel. They've had no reason to stop during these first 2 yellows, except for the cars in the back, as Ned has mentioned. They could give up track position, make their stop, try to improve their car, and not lose that much. The front-running cars could not afford that. But when you get to that 50-lap mark, green or yellow, those front-running cars are going to have to come in, and if that pit stop is under green, you're going to see the wrenches fly.
Getting set on a restart. Field in turn number 3. As they come around, there are 25 laps complete. Working the 26th.
They're using the radial tires for the first time here at Daytona on these Winston Cup cars, and they think they can go comfortably around 100 laps.
25, 26 laps will be down at the end of this lap, and of course, as Dave says, come lap 50, I'd say 50 at the absolute outside, we're going to have to start seeing some pit action one way or another for gas.
Here comes Earnhardt, making his move on Allison for the lead. Earnhardt's there, back out in front. With him comes Ernie Urban.
Bill Elliott having trouble. He's got a flat tire. The right front tire is flat. Now then, here's a point. He has to go around. Where did he qualify?
Well, he can stop. They haven't run three laps yet, so Bill Elliott is one of those that is on the blue, so he can stop this time around.
He can stop this time round, but he couldn't stop that time round, which of course could be crucial because he's languishing right at the back of the field now. The right front tire is flat, and he would have obviously normally stopped on that previous lap.
You saw Mickey Gibbs on pit road for a moment there. He's just coming back out. Here come the leaders by with Earnhardt in first. Tight run for second. And as they stream across the line, in second spot for the moment, that was Ernie Urban, but he lost it immediately to Davey Allison. And as they run side by side, Earnhardt pulls away.
Well, a lot of side-by-side racing back in the pack, but up front is for second place as Ernie Urban tries to take the measure off Davey Allison. Here's Bill Elliott now as he makes his way on to pit road. He'll definitely go at least a lap down. You see the blue flag is out, so he can pit now because he has a blue sticker on the windshield of his Ford number 9. Let's go to the pits and Dave Despain.
Well, that's a remarkable bit of good fortune for Bill Elliott in the midst of some bad fortune. The bad fortune, of course, is the flat tire. And the good news is he is able to change it here, coincidentally, by being on the correct lap for his team to pit. He's able to pit and change the 4 tires without penalty. Now, they will go all the way around. They will change the tire that was flat. But while they're at it, they'll come on around. They will fuel the car and make a 4-tire pit stop. So for the Elliott team, wearing black armbands here today in commemoration of Mike Rich, their fallen team member killed in Atlanta last year, they make the first green flag pit stop of this 1991 season. They make it under the new rules, and they make it as beneficiary of those new rules. And Elliott is out, and it was a lengthy stop.
39 seconds, Dave.
Well, I have to take issue with Dave Despain now. I don't think that was very beneficial for him at all, for Bill Elliott.
There's trouble on a car that was running up front. The fire is coming out of the Jimmy Spencer car. He was a lap down, but Jimmy Spencer's car, and here's Jeff Purvis spinning around in car number 51.
And Jimmy Means is in the wall. Phil Barkdahl crashing. 5 cars in trouble out of turn number 4.
Spencer is out of his car. You can see him. He jumped out on the grass.
Coughing badly there. I guess the fumes from whatever it is that's burning on that car. If it's any plastic going, that won't be good for him.
A lot of smoke pouring out of car number 98.
He probably breathed in some of the smoke because the inside of the car is completely filled with smoke. They'll get him now and get some oxygen in him very quickly.
Jimmy Spencer, who was involved in a couple of incidents yesterday in the 300-miler.
And, of course, Bill Elliott now does get his lap back.
Well,
or will he?
He was about to go 2 laps down, and he got back out. I think if they had stayed up to full speed, they would have lapped him twice, but he stayed out in front of him as a result of the caution coming out.
See, I have to take issue with Dave on that he was a beneficiary because he just happened to be able to come in on that blue lap, because he basically lost a lap by dragging around to make sure that he waited for the blue lap. He lost a lap.
Now, will others come in? They have run 31 laps. Will they come in for fuel? They can only go another 18 or 19 or perhaps 20 laps from here on. Here's the Sammy Swindell car, number 20. He's had a tough day here today.
Second altercation for Sammy Swindell. Jimmy Spencer, Berwick, Pennsylvania, in his Chevrolet, prepared by Travis Carter, comes away from one. Under caution, this lap 31. Lap 31 is where we are at, and we are already into our 3rd caution of the day. How come? Cool weather? What's happening here?
Did in fact Spencer's engine blow, Ned, and leave oil down there, which caused the ensuing mayhem?
Yeah, I think that's what happened, David, and that's why it caught fire.
Let's take a look-see.
He was running in that front pack of cars, although he was a lap down. See if we can see what did happen. And here's Jimmy Means.
This is
apparently, yes, he must have hit some oil and spun around.
Yeah, they were getting a report now that the engine did go away. And there's the Neil Bonnet car, the number 51. It's being driven by Jeff Purvis from Tennessee.
I guess that you can't see very well out of this booth, but there's probably a fine patina of oil on that track.
Here's Dave Despain.
With Jimmy Spencer, who has a bigger smile on his face than we might expect. What happened?
I don't know. I'll tell you, David, car caught on fire inside. I'm just glad that everybody could see behind me and we didn't get in a major pile up there. I feel all right now. I just got a lot of smoke in me, and that's the only thing I could do. I couldn't breathe. I had to stop it as quick as I could, and I'm all right.
Where did you lose vision? Where did the car fill up with smoke?
Coming down through Calamity Corner right off of turn 2 and top of turn 4.
Thank you, Jimmy. Quickly, let's go to Mike Joy.
Kirk Shelmerdine got seagull duty here. They've taped it up, a piece of screen. and Earnhardt is away, not wanting to give up too much track position. He started moving before all that tape was in place, saw Davey Allison coming in his rearview mirror, and now Earnhardt is back on the speedway.
Everybody rushing onto pit road here, working on these cars, putting in a bit of fuel.
Six overshot his pit now. What does that do, Ned?
Sends him around.
Pushing him back.
Supposed to be a 15-second penalty if he overshoots his pits.
Can he fuel here?
Here is Ted Musgrave in car number 55.
You take the 15-second penalty, but you can be pushed back?
Yes.
Here's Michael Waltrip, Dave Despain.
Yes, we're with Mike Waltrip. Mike Waltrip, you were not involved in that altercation, but you're behind the wall, hood up. What happened?
Well, the car had been getting hot ever since the start of the race, and finally overheated or something happened inside of the engine. I'm not exactly sure what. It's a shame. It's the first Daytona 500 for Pennzoil. We're not doing a very good job setting here, but we're going to try to fix the thing and get back out there.
Your analysis of what's happening up front, is there anybody here who can beat Dale Earnhardt this week?
Well, there's a lot of people that are going to be able to keep up with him. Whether they can beat him or not will be a different story. The draft just isn't as fast up front as you would think it would be. We were messing with a bunch of cars that were taking some chances, and I was really taking it easy and hanging with the lead draft. So it's going to be a heck of a race, I promise you that.
Analysis of a man who's trying to get back into that race, Mike Waltrip, out. They fear blown engine.
A man who was on the move is now moved back behind the wall on pit road. Mark Martin's number 6. See the tool chest coming out, so they're going to go to work on him and try to get him back in this thing. Here's Mike Joyce with him.
Where is Mark?
Mark Martin is behind the pit wall, and he is staring straight at victory lane 50 feet away. It'll be a tough job to get there. They have a new pumpkin to put in the car. That's the center section of the rear end. Martin has either torn up the rear end or he has broken an axle.
Boy, that's a tough break for him, and you can see he just sits there, stares. That's all he can do while his crew works on the car, knowing that it's going to put him off to a slow start and trying to win his first Winston Cup championship. He came awfully close in 1990.
So dedicated, so intent. Arkansas's Mark Martin nearly won the crown, and then in those last races of the year, back came the intimidator Earnhardt to win his 4th Winston Cup title in that 29-race series.
Ken, I would guess that maybe the ratchet has broken in that car. It's unusual that a rear gearing would go out on the car.
Perhaps we can get a word with Mark Martin. Mark, this is Ken Squire at CBS. Mark, do you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you.
When did it break? What was the telling sign?
The gear broke, the rear end gear, the differential. I don't know if it's the case or what, but when we got ready to take off, it just it broke, exploded.
And you were running so well, Mark.
I was what?
You were running so well.
Oh yeah, the Folgers Thunderbird was working good. We were.
Okay. They continue to work on the car. Back with you at Daytona. We've just gone back under green, and as they came to the line, Dave Marcus, who had come from dead last to 7th, spun on the start. He landed down on the apron of the track. No green has come out. He's running on the bottom of the speedway in turn 1 as the field is coming around.
I must say, I missed what happened to him. He obviously got nudged by somebody there, and as you were just saying, come right from dead last to 5th.
All those pit stops, staying out, gave him that opportunity to pull up through. We are in the green flag condition. Driving down into the first turn, Kyle Petty now has the lead. That massive pit stop period. Here comes Sterling Marlin. His new colors, new number 22. Sterling Marlin closing up. Let's take a look at that race in the pits. Earnhardt was first going in. Now he's 9th. Kyle just swapping a spot, and here comes Sterling Marlin on a charge.
Now those cars didn't pit during this caution, so that's the reason Earnhardt came. He made a good pit stop, but he came out behind the cars that did not pit.
Kyle Petty in the 42, yet to score a top 10 finish. Buddy Baker, car number 88, and we got a spinner coming out of 4. It's Barkdahl. Out of control, looping down into the grass. Let's hope he doesn't get back up on the racetrack. Getting through his Gant. Strickland, Schrader, and the rest of the field gets on the binders.
Robbie Gordon scrapes down the wall there. Ooh, that could have been a nasty moment. Bartol's screen blew out, or half his screen blew out.
He looked like he was headed onto his roof. You could see the car lift a couple of feet.
And one thing that perhaps helped to keep him from getting on his roof, maybe we can see those little strips on top of the roof. You see those little rises right on each side of the car on the top of it? Those were put on there to help to press the car down if it gets into a spin.
Yeah, these cars before with that big ride height, big ground clearance, once they turn sideways, they turn into a wing. And we saw some pretty disastrous things a few years back.
Well, here he is, the yellow car on the inside. He drifts up into another car on the outside, loses control. You can see the windshield fly out, and look how the car gets off the ground, the right side of it. Then it lands back, gets on the grass. Fortunately, it stays on the grass for a good period of time. The windshield's still flopping, or a portion of it at least, and he stays on the low side of the racetrack, and everybody else gets by.
Another look. Phil Barkdahl, 53 years old, out of Arizona.
Sliding wide there.
Tapping another car.
That was the car of Mickey Gibbs that he brushed with coming off the turn.
It gets right up in the air there, but just not enough speed to lift it right off the ground.
Remember 4 years ago, the 125-mile qualifiers, Barkdahl upside down in the tri-oval, into the wall backwards at 190 miles per hour. That's where you had your heart in your throat as you saw Harry Gant coming along and no place to go. Under caution once again here at Daytona in the 500. Under caution for the fourth time today. Standings after 38 of 200 laps in the 500 go like this. Sterling Marlin out of Tennessee driving for Junior Johnson is in the lead. Second, Kyle Petty. Maintaining the third position is Ernie Urban, and we understand there may be some problems on the 4 car now. In the fourth position is Rick Mast with his Jackson Brothers mount, and then in the 5th position Morgan Shepherd for Bud Moore. Here's Dave Despain.
Wrong place, wrong time for Kenny Schrader. When Barkdahl spun, the windshield popped out of the car and popped right into the front of the 25 car. The damage that you see across the front end is from the impact of the windshield, and Kenny Schrader is going to be a while getting that fixed. They have punctured the radiator. Let's go to Mike Joy.
Here's the center section from Mark Martin's rear end. This input shaft is supposed to be attached to a yoke which attaches it to the drive shaft, and the shaft sheared clean off. They have a new center section in, and Mark Martin's back on the track. The side of the brake is good news. If it had broken internally, there'd likely be trash or chips circulating around in the rear end fluid and cooler, which could cause another failure. This problem should never have happened in the first place and probably will not recur.
Mike, as many years as I've been around auto racing, it's been more than 30, I have never seen that happen. I've seen other things in the rear gearing go wrong, but I've never seen that happen.
The amount of races that I have lost because of things everybody says, well, I've never seen that happen before. Yeah. So I know exactly how he feels.
New windshield.
He probably only lost a couple of laps. I wasn't counting.
73 car. Barkdahl back out once again. Martin was in the pits 11 minutes, 57 seconds, and he comes back 7 laps down. Mark Martin with aspirations. Show them all with his Ford in this 500. Finds himself 7 laps back, and here comes Michael Waltrip back out. Remember, we saw him come in with overheating problems a little earlier.
So a lot of good cars having problems in the early going here. As Waltrip gets back out in his Pontiac, we're about ready to go green flag racing again, and we see Bill Elliott down on the inside. He is 1 lap down. And you know, a lot of Mark Martin's time in the pits was spent during caution laps. He would have been more down than what he is.
Kyle Petty's car.
Some paper underneath the air dam on the front as Bill Elliott tries to beat him down into turn 1 to get back in the lead lap.
Rick Mast right behind Kyle Petty there as they go into turn 1. Pretty eventful race.
Now, we had said a moment ago that Sterling Marlin was leading when we came back. Marlin since made a pit stop, so he's back in the pack. Kyle Petty the leader, Rick Mast second.
Rick Mast, a heck of a racer. Saw him win up at Loudon, New Hampshire at that new mile track there, New Hampshire International. And there is Schrader's car still being repaired. Meanwhile, in the back straightaway, Elliott trying to make up a lap here in number 9. And Morgan Shepherd, who had trouble in the 125s, had an engine expire. He's up in 3rd. Remember, he won at Atlanta in the red and white number 15 car. the end of the year.
Of those three front cars, we see Davey Allison and Dale Earnhardt coming into the picture now, but Kyle Petty and Rick Mast have not made pit stops. Morgan Shepherd has made a pit stop earlier when we saw some of those running near the back. 3 abreast going into turn 1.
Bottom of the racetrack. Earnhardt on the move, gets down, and Davey Allison comes with him.
And of course, this demonstrates just how important it is to have the right car, the right time, the right place. Awesome Bill from Dawsonville, just a few years back, absolutely unbeatable on these super speedways, has not shone well at all this whole 2 weeks down here, and not looking very good today either.
Here's Earnhardt going back in front. Davey Allison comes down to the bottom with him. Kyle Petty, who has yet to score a top 10 finish in the Daytona 500. A couple of years back, he did some relief driving for Beerswell and ran 10th, but on his own, he's still looking for a first top 10 position, and he's fighting Allison down through the tri-oval across the start-finish line, wheel to wheel. Ford on the inside, Pontiac on the outside.
Ken, while we're watching this battle, Ernie Urban, one of the strongest cars in the field, was black flag for a stop-and-go penalty. Apparently, he jumped out of line on the restart, so he's way back. He's still in the lead lap, but he's about 2/3 of a lap behind the leaders.
And they were saying that car was having some handling problems a few moments ago, the car number 4 of Ernie Urban.
Now Ernie Urban, of course, is stuck absolutely on his own, way out of any chance of a draft, and these guys are probably going to eat that half lap up. Black flag being flown for somebody. Oh, Mike Waltrip going too slowly down the inside of the track.
Coming out of turn number 4.
You'll see Michael Waltrip just a moment as the leaders go by him as they go into turn 1.
44 laps complete. Earnhardt first, Allison second, Petty third, Mast fourth, Shepherd fifth, Ruttman 6th, Gant 7th, Labonte in 8th, Hut Strickland 9th, Ricky Rudd in 10th, Dale Jarrett 11th.
Alan Kowicki is 12th and Jeff Bodine 13th. Let's go to the pits and Dave Despain.
It was almost exactly this moment a year ago when Kenny Schrader pulled this car onto pit road with a blown motor. He'd come from the back of the field to second. Kenny, what happened out there?
Well, you know, we were going on up through there, just kind of picking our way and taking our time this year, and one of those cars spun and windshield went flying through the air, and it landed right in front of us, and I run over it.
What have they said about the damage? We hear the radiator is punctured. Are they going to try to get you back out there?
Well, we're going to go back out, but it'll just be take a ride.
Let's go to Chris Economaki. The day is going to be abbreviated for Kenny Schrader.
Okay, I'm here with Sammy Swindell, who has a big following among sprint car fans throughout these United States. Sammy, you had a double whammy today. What happened the first time, and then what put you out?
Well, the first time we just, Robbie Gordon got around me on the outside, and you know, we just got together just a little bit off of turn 2, just enough that it got me sideways, and you know, I was just trying to stay out of everybody's way and get the car back around.
What about the last time?
Well, I don't know exactly what happened in front of us. Seen some smoke and stuff, and Jimmy Means got the way, but he got on the brakes. I was a little bit late and was too close to him, and we got together just a little bit, and then Ted Musgrave got in the back of me, and just right in the middle of everything.
Sammy, can you compare stock car racing to sprint car racing now? Which is tougher?
Well, I don't know. You know, this is probably the most fun I've had racing in a while. You know, I wish I could get back out there and run some more. It was, I was having a blast.
Oh, thanks very much, Sammy Swindell, and back to you, Ken.
Thank you very much, Chris. 8 cars running in the lead draft, and right now, that engine pulling the train is Earnhardt, and Davey Allison stays second. They ran in separate 125 milers, so this is the first meeting between the pair. The Chevys in front, Ford's in second, and they're averaging 192 miles an hour in the last lap.
That's a pretty quick pace since we're more than 100 miles into the race.
If you're just joining us, we've had 4 caution periods, 18 laps under yellow, so no chance of a record in this one. Richard Petty's car giving us these pictures from the STP in-car camera in Richard Petty's number 43.
And this gives you an idea of the steepness of that banking and just how much effort he's putting into the car. Disappointed to see that Richard's not wearing those fireproof gloves.
14th position. Here he is pulling up on Dale Jarrett in the number 21.
Dale having a good run today in the Wood Brothers car, hanging up there with the lead draft, and Richard right behind him.
Into that bumpy turn 3 at about 197, 198 miles an hour probably. Lose a little bit of speed through the corner here, just through scrub. And of course, part of the key is to set the car up with as little scrub as possible, which is obviously where Dale Earnhardt succeeds so well. Across the stripe alongside another car there.
Now you see Richard drafted with Dale Jarrett around Ricky Rudd. Rudd was down on the inside, so Richard just went with Jarrett, and it was a good move for him.
Richard running low. You remember the Richard Petty of old always used to run right around the outside, but with the restrictor plate, they feel that the lower the line they can run, the better. There you see Rusty. Is that the Rusty Wallace car?
No, that's Terry Labonte.
Terry Labonte's
car number 94, and another car. They just sort of split that one. A car that was slowed down.
That's that 55 car that's lost half its bodywork. I'm surprised they don't black flag him, quite honestly. Dale and now then, Ned Dale and Richard Petty here got a nice little duo going. Can they pull up on that lead pack, do you think, together if they just stay in line like this?
Well, I don't know. They lost the lead draft when they were running side by side with Ricky Rudd and the car number 94 of Terry Labonte. So you can see a good bit of space up in front of Dale Jarrett there. It'll be interesting to see. I think if Richard stays right on his bumper, they might be able to do that. Might be able to draft up to them.
That'll help them both a lot, of course, wouldn't it?
Yes, it would, and the two cars behind them now are running side by side. That should let them pull away from them. Richard Petty, an absolute master at drafting. In fact, he's the guy that was given credit for mastering the draft in the early going when this Daytona International Speedway was built.
Dale Jarrett's in 11th. Richard Petty is in 12th as they move through the field. Chewing on that towel, Richard, as he has for all the years he's been here. This is his 31st 500.
Wearing his new full-face Bell helmet there, which I'm glad to see. I wish more of these drivers wore the full-face helmets, because in the unfortunate event of an impact, it does protect the bottom half of your face. In fact, it protects all of your face.
David, notice, Richard, how he is sitting up close to the steering wheel with his elbows bent. Now, when I drove race cars, I wanted to be away from the steering wheel, and I stretched out to drive, and I think this is better. In fact, most drivers do it this way now. They say that it gives them a little bit more muscle in turning the wheel, and then in case of an impact, you probably are in much better shape as to not Kyle Petty coming into the pits, but if you hit something, you're in better shape to not do damage to your arms with this style.
It definitely gives you more leverage. There's no doubt about it. Mike Joy's down the pits.
Kyle Petty comes in for the first scheduled green flag pit stop of the day. Glenn Sherrill has the jack under the right side of the car as Lanny Barnes changes tires. Jim Sutton on the right rear. The tires that Jim Long has brought over. Richard Bostic, veteran gas man, has the second can already in. Jerry Wendell, the catch can man. They are just about done, finishing up a little bit with the gas. Little miscue here. Now Kyle is down, stalls it.
19
and he's away. Kyle Petty was running fourth and now rejoins the race almost a lap down.
Let's take a look at the leaderboard after 48 laps. Earnhardt was then leading, Allison second, Mast third, Kyle Petty in fourth, Morgan Shepherd was fifth. Further back in the field, Joe Ruttman sustaining sixth, Harry Gant seventh, and Alan Kowicki have rolled up from 17th into 8th, where he is now. Hut Strickland in 9th and Terry Labonte in 10th. Further back in the field, it was Dale Jarrett 11th, Ricky Rudd, Richard Petty, Jeff Bodine, and Bobby Hillen rounding out the top 15. 4 caution periods thus far in the race for a total of 17 laps under yellow. Here are the leaders. Earnhardt coming to the line. We are now working the 55th lap.
Earnhardt pulling away just a little bit too.
Here's Kyle Petty, fellas. He made a green flag pit stop, and as Mike Joy said, a little miscue in the pits, and it cost him some extra time. He went a lap down, but he came back out past his dad and Dale Jarrett and have pulled away from them and is now gaining on the front runners. He hopes this thing stays green for a long period of time because he is the fastest car on the racetrack. He put 2 new tires on, and evidently the new tires are a good bit quicker than the tires after they get heated up.
He's pulling out a cool half a second a lap on everybody else, which in this type of racing is a huge gap.
Making a remarkable difference, those tires on car number 42. Rick Mast has come in. Remember, we reported in that 48-lap rundown he was up there. He has now made a green flag stop and come back on again.
Kyle Petty about to get into the draft of Alan Kulwicki in the number 7, the Army car there. And then if he can leapfrog past Alan Kulwicki, he's going to be right in the thick of that lead group. Needs to get to the front of that group, and then he wants a caution flag, and he'll get his lap back.
Kowicki finds himself now in 7th position. He's picked up 10 spots over the last few laps. He's been very quiet in the 1991 Speed Weeks. But he's sure making himself heard now with the colors of the U.S. Army. Now there you see the 55 car, which was in that altercation, Ted Musgrave. His car badly beaten up, the ASA driver out of Franklin, Wisconsin, staying at it, but badly rumpled in the snout, number 55. Getting a lap back from car number 7 comes Kyle Petty in the Felix Savetta's 42. We'll hear more from him. After 58 of 200 laps, Dale Earnhardt, seeking his first Daytona 500 win, is out in front in our live CBS coverage. Davey Allison is in second, Joe Ruttman third, Morgan Shepherd fourth, Hut Strickland fifth. But the bigger story is Kyle Petty's number 42, which has just moved around Hut Strickland and is the quickest car on the track. And I would ask my mates up here in the booth, David Hobbs and Ned Jarrett, think that those tires will stand up long enough to carry him by those leaders as we watch car number 25 in again, running several laps down. Ken Schrader with the nose of that car torn up.
Well, they did a lot of work on the right front of that car. And to answer your question about Kyle Petty, yeah, I think those tires will help him to move. He's moving around Davey Allison now, so I think that he'll be able to pass Earnhardt. Then if a caution comes out, he's right back in the thick of this thing.
Around Allison for third, closing on second place, Joe Ruttman in the number 75. Davey Allison's look at Kyle Petty as he brings the Felix Savetta's car up through the field.
And what a run that Joe Ruttman in second spot there is having today. I mean, up from 14th. As we heard, waiting on tables last year, running right behind Dale Earnhardt down the back straight now. How long's Kyle Petty's tire advantage going to last? That's the thing. Of course, these other guys now have done a lot of mileage on their tires.
Yeah, I think maybe they're good for 20 laps or so to have somewhat of an advantage, although he has already used up a good portion of that now. But he has caught the fastest cars. Will that advantage carry him past them? Here's Dave Marcus coming into the pits. Well, he did not come into the pits. He just went down on the inside of the racetrack and riding the Coast Guard Chevrolet on around.
63 laps complete. Jeff Bodine giving us these pictures from car number 11.
Junior Johnson Ford.
Jeff is sort of out running by himself. He's passing the car number 23 of Eddie Beerswell. But Jeff had lost the draft of the front-running cars. So he's just sort of drafting anything he can come up on.
And is running outside the top 20 at this time. Unusual place for the 86 winner of this event.
Going past Dave Marcus on the inside, going very slowly down the inside.
So you see him down into turn number 3. Watch him as he comes out of there and rides right up to the wall. Now here comes Kyle Petty as they battle up in front. We're watching Joe Ruttman go for the lead.
Yeah, Kyle Petty helped him take the lead. He got right on his back bumper, and
Kyle Petty pushed Joe Ruttman into the lead. Now all he's going to do is follow him through himself.
Yeah,
and then hope for a caution.
Well, Joe Ruttman might have been a waiter a year ago, but clearing the table out there right now is Joe Ruttman. He hasn't led a Daytona 500 since 1983. He had 57 laps to his credit back then and came home in 4th position. Here comes Kyle on the 42.
And you see how the new tires there are doing it to him. Stayed so low as they come into the tri-oval. Dale Earnhardt, of course, not giving up without a struggle.
Earnhardt right behind the leader, Joe Ruttman, and down on the inside. Little pinch here.
So Kyle would have got boxed in there just slightly.
Kyle had that incredible victory at Rockingham where he dominated last year. Next 2 races on the Winston Cup Tour. Off to Richmond, Virginia next week. Then on to Rockingham following week. 29 races this year. Over $20 million up for grabs. Look at Chris Economaki.
Well, we've been looking at these inter-service cars. The service machines aren't having the best day. Buddy Baker in the U.S. Marines Pontiac number 88 is adamant with mechanical trouble. Greg Sachs in the U.S. Navy Chevy is out in a crash. Mickey Gibbs in the U.S. Air Force Pontiac is out there running but way down. And Dave Marcus is limping around in the Coast Guard Chevrolet. The best of the service cars is that of Alan Kowicki, who's running in the top 10. He's got his rooters in Saudi Arabia.
The number 3 car, Dale Earnhardt, seems to be fading just a little bit here, Ned. The 12 car went by him. Davey Allison went by him.
Yeah, I expect those tires are getting pretty heated up now. We've completed 66 laps.
But if there's anyone that can drive on worn tires, it's Earnhardt.
That's true. Yeah, he can manhandle a car, no question about it. It'll be interesting to see when he decides to come into the pits. Now, Kyle Petty has passed Joe Ruttman and is back in the lead lap.
At this point, Kyle Petty looking for a caution. Give him something to make up that distance from the leader, Joe Ruttman.
Earnhardt definitely going higher and higher up on the banking here. Normally, he's been running right around the bottom, and he goes high enough there to get out of that draft of those cars in front, although as he gets onto the back straight, he soon slips back into it.
They say that car is pushing out there. That's the report from down on pit road.
Well, that means that it would ride high in the turns. That means that the back end is sticking too tight when he goes into the turns. The front wheels just won't cut the way that he wants them to, and so it rides high in the turns.
Right front fender going just like an arrow toward that outside.
Oh.
Whoa! Trouble for just one. Car spinning directly in front of Earnhardt. It's Strickland. Strickland once, twice, 3 times around. Starting to come back up on the track. He's trying to hold it down. Kulwicki gets through. As does Sterling Marlin and the rest of the field.
And he's lost his windshield as well. Boy, did he get nudged there by Dale, or did he just lose all the air when Dale ran right up behind him?
I don't know.
I think he lost the air. Let's take a look and see in a moment. And what happened to the Bobby Allison car number 12?
He did suddenly seem to back out of it right in front of Dale, didn't he? I mean, it looked fairly normal from inside Earnhardt's car.
And a break here for Kyle Petty. He had just passed the leader, got back in the lead lap. So now he is back in the thick of it, and he has fresher tires than do those other drivers.
And David Hobsnet, Jarrett, this is where we'll see that odd even tire change for the first time.
Petty, of course, got his lap back, so he's on the back end of the lead lap. Or he's right in the thick of it again. The pits are now closed, so no one can do any tire changing.
Again, here's what happened.
I think he might have got tapped a little bit. I think Hutt ran up on Davey Allison and had to back off, and Earnhardt just shot up there and maybe tapped him just a little bit. And around he went.
And this is the point. You see the car there getting very, very light across the grass. And at this stage, he slips up. He's about to go up and flicks it down, which is extremely fortunate for Alan Kulwicki.
Hut Strickland in the middle of a 7,000+ pound sandwich out there.
And of course, Hut Strickland now cannot stop and change his tires.
Replay from inside the car.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. Hut Strickland came out of the gas just a little bit, and Dale didn't. Only just nudged him. There you see the rear view mirror.
Have another replay we can look at as well. I think Ned had it right on the nickel.
Caught up
28.
Davey
came out. He caught him up. And Earnhardt just taps the back end of number 12.
Of course, what happens when they spin, the air goes into the car on the rotation and pressurizes the inside of the car, and of course one of the things that happens is it pops the windscreen out from the inside,
which is a whole lot better than building up some more wind in there and lifting
the car off the road
like they used to on the back straightaway. Well, there you see Hut Strickland's team waiting for that car to come around.
Now the
where is it?
Pit should be open this time around.
Jib Fennick crew waiting for Hut Strickland in car number 12, and they have a windshield ready for him. Tires now the issue, certainly for Earnhardt in the number 3. This pit stop, this odd and even change. Remember, when they first come in, they cannot change tires. They have to change them in a green flag condition. Here come the cars down on pit road. Pace car brings them in at about 60 miles an hour. Now, they can replace windshields. They can work on damage on the cars, change the weight, other things like that. But you can't send the crew out, only 5 men over the wall, to work on the right side to change tires.
And if they do change tires, there's a 1-lap penalty. So I think we'll see most of them come in shortly after the green flag is displayed again, although they can still go another 20 or so laps before, maybe 10 laps on those that came in, Earnhardt and all of them that pitted a little while ago. Here's Kyle Petty in. He's just going to top off the fuel tank. He was at the back anyway, so nothing lost there.
Mike Joy.
Yeah, Dale Earnhardt is one of those cars that will almost certainly be in when we come back to green. Let's assume these are 3 of the 4 tires on his car headed in that direction. they'll set these cars up to have a little bit of push at the start of the race, and that abrades the right front tire more so than the other three. With the old bias ply tires, the car would eventually get neutral and then get loose and wear the rear tires. It doesn't happen with the radial. So if you start with a little push, you end up with a lot of push as the tires wear. And Dale says the right front tire is now just about wore out. Now, it's not wore down to the canvas, but it is worn and overheated to the point where he's not getting the traction out of that right front tire. And as a result, he's as much as 1.3 seconds slower than his fastest laps of the race.
Watching that windshield being put in on car number 12, Hut Strickland, getting an idea about those tires and the wear on these radials as we...
Well, those radials start off, you know, at about 3/4 of a 30-second tread depth, and over about 125 miles, you'd expect to lose half of it.
Now, they're going to send that car around and come back in, I would presume, to get the rest of that done.
Trying to stay in the lead lap. They didn't get those straps fastened. I don't think that hurts anything, so they'll come back in the next time. Let's go down to the pits and Dave Despain.
We're with the co-owner of the leading car, Bob Rahilly. Question of strategy. Now, when that green flag comes out, you have the choice of bringing him in. Will you bring him in?
Well, right now we're debating on what to do, but I don't want to play my hand out to all the competitors. But right now, I think we're on a winning horse, so you take it from there.
Another quick question with 1 to go. You got to be happy with this guy you dragged out of retirement and put in your race car.
We're real happy with it right now. Of course, Dinner Bells give us good backing this year, and I'm looking forward to a real good year with Joe. He's doing a heck of a job.
He's got Joe in his other ear. They're getting ready to go back to green. That's Bob Rahilly from the leaders pit.
Ned, as we were getting that report, you saw car number 12 out there with a right front tire going down. Flat spotted him enough, so finally one wore through.
Yeah, that's a bad break for Hut Strickland. He has to come back in to finish that windshield off, and the signal's just been given for one more lap, but now he has more problems. And while Dave Despain was talking to Bob Rahilly, Morgan Shepherd pulled his car number 15 behind the wall into the garage area.
Man who won that last race of the year at Atlanta last year in November when Dale Earnhardt sewed up the championship.
Well, this is going to be a very, very bad break for the number 12 car of Hut Strickland. Not only they changed the windshield, which they managed to do under the caution without losing a lap, but now he's doomed to lose probably at least 2, because he'll lose a lap going around slowly with the blown tire, and then he'll have to lose another one, either as a penalty or just keep staying out there, losing more and more time.
Well, this Wheel of Fortune is taking most of the chips away from Hut Strickland now with this pit procedure. He's caught, and he'll have to come in and change a right front tire. We saw him spin 3 times. He was hoping to make that windshield change, get back out, and be able to stay in the lead lap.
Okay, the caution is waving again, Ken. They were given the signal the last time around to be one more lap. I wouldn't be surprised if maybe some debris didn't come off of Hut Strickland's car as he came around. We don't know for sure if that's the problem, but with it being down on the metal or the frame of the car, he very well could have lost some debris.
71 laps are complete, and as they come to the stripe, Joe Ruttman is first, Davey Allison second, Earnhardt third, Harry Gant fourth. Alan Kowicki is 5th on the field. In the 6th position is Sterling Marlin. In 7th, Bobby Hillen Jr. showing up for the first time. Then in 8th is Darrell Waltrip, followed by Derek Cope, last year's winner, showing up here in the top 10. Here's Dave Despain.
4 tire change has been completed on Hut Strickland's car. They are still working on the windshield. Now, they will probably incur the 1-lap penalty right here. The rule says that if you make your tire change and it costs you a lap anyway, in other words, if you're in the pits long enough that the penalty would be self-inflicted, that doesn't make any difference. They're still going to stop you for another full lap after the work has been completed. This is the windshield that will go in replacement of the broken windshield for Hut Strickland. Actually, I believe that is going to be the 2nd windshield. They're going to re-change that windshield, but they will not be able to do that. We'll double check and see if they're going to go to that work right now, because they're stuck here for another lap, and it would seem logical that they would go ahead and make that change. I think they may have decided that they're satisfied with what they have done here, and they're going to go with what they got, but they can't do that for another full lap. Jimmy Finnig is the crew chief, and let's see if we can get Jimmy over here. He's going to be tied up for a minute. We'll get back to this, guys. Let's go to Chris Economaki.
Well, Harry Gant, they were worried in his pit this morning about the car. When they're taking the car off the transporter, they had taken it away. The left front fender was damaged coming off the truck. It scuffed the decals off of it, and they had a little bit of straightening, and they felt that all the time they spent in the wind tunnel with that car, this would have upset it, but it doesn't seem to. He's up there in 4th place in that green number 33.
There's a lot of them, Chris, that the wind tunnel testing won't amount to too much on. They've been battered and bruised with thus far 5 caution periods in this event. Several cars that we just saw Rick Wilson's car come out all taped up. Left front panel completely gone.
He's 52 laps down, Ken. So Rick Wilson just out there now trying to ride out some laps and get a few points. Here's Ricky Rudd into the pits getting fuel. They're looking at the tires. Oh, he has been on those tires for quite a while. Oh, he gets the tank of fuel and heads on back into the action. So apparently he's going to stay out there a while on this.
There you see the number 27 car being driven by Bobby Hill, and that car wasn't even around until Thursday. They entered it at the last possible moment. That's the Moroso Memorial Car that Dick Moroso brought in memory of his son,
Robbie.
And Bobby Hill, and has done a good job with it. He's come from 36 to 7th as we get set to go. And there you see the 73 car back out here once again. Phil Barkdahl, who had that wild ride a few moments ago. Now, here's Dave Despain.
Of the multiple problems confronting Hut Strickland, this one may be the one that will ultimately be the biggest problem. The green puddle out there on pit road, and let's ask Jimmy Finnig. They have now completed the tire change. They have replaced the windshield. Jimmy, what's that we see out there on pit road, and how big a problem is it?
Oh, that's just a little bit of water. The big thing is the windshield we put in there has got a little crack in it, so we'll just have to wait and see what happens.
You elected not to change it again, even though you were stuck in here for the penalty. Did you figure you didn't have time?
I figured we didn't have time, and then there was no sense going 2 laps down.
So they cut their losses and got back out there with a crack in the windshield.
That's the story on Hut Strickland's car as we get ready to go green once again. And as they come to the line, Joe Ruttman is up in front. He has never won a Winston Cup race. There you see the sign on the 5 car up.
Yeah, apparently he got above the white line going out, so he'll be in for a stop-and-go penalty, maybe. But the 5 car of Ricky Rudd is subject for a black flag the next time around.
Joe Ruttman, whose elder brother won the Indianapolis 500 back in 1953. Joe Ruttman, who has never won in Winston Cup racing, held 3 second places, leading the Daytona 500 and being challenged. Here comes Davey Allison.
Allison going down on the inside. Now, it'll be interesting to see how many of these cars pit. Now, they can't pit this time around. They have to come by the start-finish line one more time before the odd cars can come in, those with the blue stickers on them. So we'll see if anyone chooses to pit or if they stay out there for a little while.
Davey Allison's view of Joe Ruttman from the leader. You're looking back over the field in the 33rd annual Daytona 500 live here on CBS Sports. Turn 1.
Joe Ruttman's car looking as if it can hold a fairly tight line there, Ned.
Yeah, even with hot tires on it, worn tires. He's holding down to the inside very good.
In fact, both of them. So they may elect not to make a pit stop, although they're going to have to change these tires sooner or later. And it's just a bit of a lottery as to when you do it. Sparks coming from underneath that car.
He hits a little bump down on the inside, sort of bottoms out for him.
Into turn 4 again. They get an idea of the banking there. Again, he's holding a good tight line.
Coming by to complete 76 laps.
Whoa, there's a trouble. Turn 4.
That is Bodine in trouble. They came down through. I think someone was thinking about ducking in as they came out of that fourth turn.
Luckily for Jeff Bodine, this is a blue pit stop lap, and so he can legitimately stop now and change the tire.
And it's also a break for last year's Daytona 500 winner. Derek Cope had already committed himself to come down pit road. That happened behind him. He can go ahead and change 4 tires and without any kind of a penalty.
Riding with Bodine after that wild spin. Here he comes in. He can change tires. He is now on pit road after that wild ride out of 4. They are coming back to the line, and as they do, Davey Allison is in first. In the car number 28, Joe Ruttman is in second place. Huck Strickland's number 12, trying to make ground on the inside. You see him just driving underneath.
Now, he could have done with leading that group across the line, couldn't he, with his new tires, because that, of course, would have got his lap back. But it was not to be.
View from Bodine, car number 11 on pit road. After a wild spin, look at it again.
Not quite sure what happened here.
There's a white car just sort of slid up into him. And then
I think that's Jimmy Sauter, isn't it? Isn't that 89?
That's Sauter on the inside. It's another car on the outside.
And Sauter just slid into his pits and
that left rear wheel
taking on tires.
Is that the tire just coming right off the rim, or is it the wheel itself? Look.
Mike Joy.
Jeff Bodine badly cut down a left rear tire, Ken, and there's scrape marks, and the aerodynamics are all messed up on the left side of the car. Crew Chief Tim Brewer is looking on as they use a real long pry bar to try to pry out the rim. They cannot loosen the lug nuts on that left rear tire because the rim is bent in against them. Jeff has now shut the car off. That's Mike Hill with the pry bar trying to gain himself some leverage. They may have to cut that rim to get to the lug nuts, and stranger things keep happening in this 500. Back upstairs.
Frustrating day for Jeff Bodine.
Coming up on 200 miles, looking back at the beginning of the race, there have been 3 surprises. 1, so many yellow flags. 2, the performance of Joe Ruttman unheralded. And thirdly, the fact that the pit stop rules have not borne one way or another on the competition. It was as expected early. Dale Earnhardt and Davey Allison setting the pace. At 200 miles gone, 300 to go.
21 laps to that halfway mark and the $10,000 bonus for leading at halfway. Gentlemen, your thoughts on what we've seen thus far?
Well, I think one reason we have seen as many cautions as we have is the fact that they're having to run these tires longer than they have in the past. Those tires are hot, and the cars slide around a little bit more on the racetrack, and as a result, we've seen some cars get into others and cause cautions.
And Kyle Petty just spent quite a bit of time there in the pits, so not quite. They were fiddling around with the front end of the car. He may have run over some debris or something.
Earnhardt's car giving us these pictures, running in third place. Let's look at the leaderboard after 78 laps. Here's how they were running. Up in front, Davey Allison once again with his caution period in the Ford. Then in the second position, car number 75, the Oldsmobile of Joe Ruttman. Going third was Dale Earnhardt Chevrolet. In the fourth position was Sterling Marlin in his Ford. Then in the fifth position was Alan Kowicki in a Ford. Looking further back. Oh, we're going to stop right here because Earnhardt is coming in. Let's see what the story is on Dale Earnhardt.
Well, is he coming in, or is he just throwing out a decoy to someone? Let's see. Yeah, I believe he is coming in. Okay.
And I'll tell you, just in front of him is the 75 of Ruttman. Ruttman is pitted as well. Mike?
Well, Ken, Dale Earnhardt has only gone 45 laps on this tank of fuel. Ordinarily, he should be able to go farther unless they did not get a full load last time, or unless he's not picking it all up. The Goodwrench crew goes to work. A little more cleanup work out there on the front of the car. Danny Myers is the man with the gas can, and Richard Childress is beating down the rear spoiler. Well, now he's going to beat it up a little bit. It's got to be 25 degrees from horizontal minimum, but he's trying to make a minute adjustment with his fist on the handling of that car. He's full of gas and back out.
Mike, we wonder if, since he did come in and take on the fuel, we know that his tires are getting worn. Now, they can change 2 tires a lot quicker than they can put in fuel. So maybe they decide to come on in, get the fuel, and then come back in a little while and get those tires.
No point making work on a pit stop. That's the thing about pit stops. If you try and do too many things at once, there's always the danger, even with a crew like that, that something can go wrong. So if you've got the chance to do it, and with the luxury of a caution, let's get the fuel in, because sooner or later he is going to have to make one of these green flag stops.
21 cars in the lead lap. Davey Allison sporting first position. Field organizing in the backstretch, ready to go back under green after the 6th caution period of the race, and this before halfway.
We hear that number 3, Dale Earnhardt's going to have a stop and go, and Joe Ruttman in the number 75 car.
Apparently they went above the white line going out of the pits. That's something you have to be very careful about.
This will get their attention.
Are they taking this rule just a little bit literally on the caution?
Well, now that white line rule has been into effect for several years, and sometimes the drivers just simply forget it when they go out of the pits and they move above that line too quick, and
may have
that's a
thought
violation.
And may have thought under the caution, you know.
Yeah, no one would look.
Or that they would care too much.
Yeah.
Back to the line.
Green flag waving.
Davey Allison breaks away. And the 3 and the 75 both scoot into this quick stop. Mike Joy?
It is a stop and go for blending up above the line. Ned, you're right. Dale just wanted fuel to ensure himself being able to go further once they got back to green flag racing. But I am surprised when they have to come in and get tires, you can fuel the car in just about the same amount of time. Here's Dave.
And that may change the strategy here in Davey Allison's pit, because their crewman, Joey Knuckles, up there on the wall said, well, we're going to come in with our old buddy Earnhardt. They wanted to maintain that draft up front. When Earnhardt came for his tires, so too would Davey Allison. Now, with that draft broken anyway, they're making the decision when to come, and I got a feeling they're going to come quick because they need those tires very badly.
I don't know, Dave. I don't think they can afford to come in now. They'd go a lap down if they came into the pits now. They need to hope there's a caution here pretty early and then come in quickly after the next green flag situation.
It is an immense interval between the 19 cars up in that lead draft in the lead lap and the 2 cars way out back now. There you see the leaders with Davey Allison first, Sterling Marlin second, and Alan Kowicki third. Number 11 back on pit road, running well down now.
And Ken, he came into the pits while the pits were actually closed. So.
Well, now, of course, Dale Earnhardt and Troy Ruttman have really... Joey Ruttman have really got to get their act together now and just hunker down and just pull back as much as they can in a dual draft to catch up with that lead group.
Okay, the Blues can come into the pits now. We see Harry Gant and Dale Jarrett coming into the pits, and they were both designated as odd numbered car, not odd numbered cars, but those two happen to be that way. But anyway, they are wearing the blue. There you see Jeff Bodine, and there's Dale Jarrett, and then down farther pit road is Harry Gant. Both of them taking on right side tires and a tank of fuel. They're going to have to hurry to stay in the lead lap.
There you see those leaders with Davey Allison's Ford up in front. Sterling Marlin in the second spot. Alan Kowicki's number 7 reported in 30 of some lap cars in between. Dave Despain.
And here in Davey Allison's pit, we've seen the first sign of the confusion over this rule. Ned, they do want to get in here. They say they're coming in 4 laps, but they've been frantically looking if we can come around. At this chart, which tells them the last time there was a pit stop, they are counting. Now, is it blue? Is it orange? When we can come in? And what they have determined is we're going to go 4 laps. That way we know we're okay. But they are saying, at least, they're going to bring Davey in. Now, what they say and what they do, well, we'll wait and see.
Dave, I misunderstood. I thought you were talking about Dale Earnhardt. Yeah, Davey, maybe so. He's up front. He could perhaps stay in the lead lap by coming in. I'm sorry, I misunderstood who you were talking about there a moment ago.
Lap car behind them, the Mark Martin car, which had put up a stout challenge in the early going. Now here comes Allison dropping to the bottom. Looks like he's on his way for pit road. Davey Allison coming down. And this will put Sterling Marlin in front for the first time today in the 500. Marlin takes the lead. Sterling Marlin, the Junior Johnson car, lap 85. He takes over. With Davey Allison on pit road, here's Dave.
It is a right side tire change. That is as expected. This will be the norm in Winston Cup racing. Now there will be a right side chassis adjustment as well. And they were in and out of there in a hurry. 14-3 on the Allison team. They got a quick chassis adjustment on the right, and most critically, they got those right side tires.
Dave, they had some strategy. It was planned that Alan Kowicki and Davey Allison would come down pit road together and hopefully get back out together so that they could draft. Well, Allison beat Alan Kowicki out of the pits by a pretty good margin, so now he'll probably be out there by himself with no one to draft with.
The other guy that seems to have got completely left out in all this shuffling is Kyle Petty, who was running so strongly just a few minutes ago, pulled his way right through the field onto the lead lap, past the leaders, and failed to capitalize at the next caution period, and somehow has left himself way back in the field.
Here's car number 9, Bill Elliott in another time. Directly behind him, Dick Trickle. There is your leader. Right behind him is the car number 12, being reported a lap down, Hut Strickland. The second place car is 17, Waltrip. Darrell Waltrip now owns his own team. Says he has to remember that he has to drive as a driver and not as an owner. And he really had his driver's face on this morning. After 88 of 200 laps, here's how they were running. Marlin first, Waltrip second, Petty third, Mast fourth, and Bobby Hamilton, the rookie from Nashville, in fifth. But my, how things can change in just a couple of laps. For now, Sterling Marlin is on pit road. Darrell Waltrip has already pulled on to pit road. And
Rick Mast has taken over the lead.
Rick Mast in car number 1. 19-second stop here on car number 22 has found himself first place. Car number 12, car that you've seen in your frame some of recent, Hut Strickland, was 3 laps down.
Yeah, he was 3 laps down, and then he passed Sterling Marlin while Marlin was leading the race, so that would put him 2 laps down. As we see Dale Earnhardt, they're still in the lead lap, but yet to make a pit stop. And here is the car number 12 of Hut Strickland running right in front of the leader, Rick Mast.
Remember that Rick Mast in 1989 finished 6th here in his first Daytona 500 ride for Travis Carter. Gave it a great run around Jimmy Sauter as they go down into turn number 3.
It looked like Mast wanted to move on the outside, trying to move on the outside to put him 3 laps down again. Let's go to the pits and Dave Despain.
Bill Elliott, once the darling of Daytona, once the king of the super speedways, in for a definitely unscheduled bit of repair. They have replaced a tie rod on the front of this car. Bill Elliott, Bill, where did this problem come from?
I have no idea.
What do we believe happens? Bill theorized. Bill's getting ready to go back out, as you can obviously tell. Remember when Bill Elliott blew that tire early? Their theory is that when they blew the tire, it tore up the front end and ultimately led to the broken tie rod. They have replaced that now. They're sending him back out. Let's go to Mike Joy.
Dave, there was good reason for Dale Earnhardt's pit stop under caution. Let's assume my notebook is the fuel cell. The fuel pickup is down here in the right rear corner, so that when the car goes up into the banking, the force sends the fuel to the pickup in the right rear corner. Well, under caution, you don't have that cornering force. You're only going 70, so the fuel goes down to the left rear corner of that fuel cell. Dale was afraid he wouldn't have enough fuel to get to the carburetor to take off on the restop, so he stopped under caution. Now, what they're trying to do is find a partner, somebody who is running somewhere near Earnhardt, to come in and get tires at the same time he does, so when he goes back out, he's not trying to push through the wind all by himself.
Remember that Dale Earnhardt is being shown back from those leaders. We have him in 7th spot at the present time. Here's Mast in car number 1. He is leading. Jackson Brothers car looking very strong now as we move toward halfway. 93 laps are complete. You see the number 1 there. Now the interval back to the 2nd place car.
This Kyle Petty in the right of the screen. The Dick Trickle car, number 66, is a lap down. He made his green flag pit stop and went a lap down. Kyle Petty running in 2nd place. Biggest lead we've seen by anyone today. Rick Mast currently has. That's what green flag pit stops will do for you. It'll scatter the field out. There's Ricky Rudd
running
car
3rd.
5. Car number 24 is at least 1 lap down Mickey Gibbs. And then the car number 27 is Bobby Hillen, who is being shown in 4th place. A great run for him today in the Robbie Moroso Memorial Car.
And behind them, that's Bobby Hamilton out of Nashville in the 68 car in his first ride for this team.
I think he has gone a lap down now after making a pit stop, Ken. He was up there in the top 5, but he has gone a lap down to the leaders.
Well, we have a scoring report that showed him up there in that lead lap. That may be incorrect.
There's the Robbie Gordon car, who is being shown in the 5th position in his first Daytona 500. Ken Schrader, who is many laps down after being...
Dale Earnhardt and Troy Ruttman are running just about 20 seconds behind the leaders.
There's Eddie Bierschwell's number 23 that may have been involved in that altercation in 4 that sent number 11 spinning. Here's the 94 car, last year's 2nd place finisher. That's Terry Labonte, who currently is running in 6th position. Behind them, here you see the 19 car, Chad Little out of Spanaway, Washington, and he is running a lap down on the field as we give you an idea of where they're positioned around the track.
And it's a pretty far piece back to the next car. You see a lot of racetrack there. before we come into the cars of Dale Earnhardt and Joe Ruttman.
They're doing a copybook job there. Absolutely tied together.
They're shown in 7th and 8th position. Earnhardt 7th, Joe Ruttman 8th.
And they are, in fact, pulling in. Well, on that lap, they pulled back nearly a full second. So if they can keep that up, well, in 18 laps, they'll be up with the leaders again.
Yep. Davey Allison back in 9th position. 96 laps complete, moving toward halfway.
Here's Phil Barkdahl still out there running, even though he has had a couple of spins.
He's running several laps down after that big spin that he had.
Kyle Petty has caught. That's Kyle Petty in the right of your screen. Dick Trickle, car number 66, trying to get his lap back.
Race summary as we move toward the halfway mark. 6 leaders. Lead changes 11. Average speed, a slow 138-mile-an-hour clip with 6 cautions, bringing that speed down for 28 laps to a caution car condition. 9 cars have fallen by the wayside. Here are the cars that have failed to make the first half of the distance. Sachs, Swindell, Spencer, Jimmy Means, Michael Waltrip. Buddy Baker's car, one of the early ones out. Dave Marcus has retired. Morgan Shepherd, he too had engine problems and had to fall out of the 33rd annual 500. We have just made the halfway mark in the event. The $10,000 bonus for leading at halfway belongs to number 1, Rick Mast, and in 2nd place in the lead lap, number 42, there he is, Kyle Petty. He is running in the lead lap. Let's be accurate about that. Kyle Petty in 2nd. Then in 3rd is Ricky Rudd. In 4th is Bobby Hillen. 5th is Gordon, and Robbie Gordon's done an incredible job. Here's Kyle Petty closing up on the number 1. Battle for the lead building. Robbie Gordon, the off-road racer from Los Angeles, California, staying in the top 10, currently 5th.
Ooh. Almost touching Hut Strickland, as Rick Mast has been drafting him at every opportunity. Strickland has been running low on the racetrack, and Mast will go down behind him to pick up that draft. But he sees Kyle Petty back there in his rearview mirror now. He would like to be able to draft away from Kyle, but don't look like that's going to happen now. Strickland moves down to the inside. Looks like he'll let the leaders go.
Robbie Gordon, of course, qualified 35th for this race and really hasn't been much of a factor, but by good pit stops through his very experienced car owner, Junie Dunleavy, they have managed to pull themselves right up there into 5th position.
Here's Dave Despain.
Kyle Petty missed that $10,000 halfway bonus by about 3 car lengths. This despite the fact that on that long yellow just before halfway, he made not 1 but 2 pit stops. They had to repair some damage to the front end that got that handled. The car is obviously still fast. Donnie Richardson is serving as crew chief on the car today. Gary Nelson is up topside. What was that 2nd pit stop about, Donnie?
Well, we just noticed, we come in for the gas mainly, just under the cautions, and happened to notice there's a piece of metal sticking out of the front end. So made a 2nd pit stop just to cure that problem, because we were afraid that the nose might crack a little further, start flapping loose, and cause further damage to us later.
There was a communication breakdown that brought him in one more time, though. What was that about?
Well, then, leaving the pit road, NASCAR, with their new pit rules and the safety, the 19 car happened to pass us on the outside and went above the white line. They communicated, miscommunicated with us and the 19 car who went above the white line. So we thought we were getting a stop and go penalty, and as it turned out, we weren't. So he come into pit road, and it was too late for me to stop him, and I just waved him on by as he come down the pit road.
So he took a stop and go he didn't need. We'll go down pit road to Mike Joy.
Richard Jackson is $10,000 richer. His driver, Rick Mast, will get part of that for leading at halfway. Now what?
Well, we're trying to figure the strategy for the rest of the race. We've got 2 more stops we've got to make, and we've got to get tires at least one of those times.
When do you think that'll be? How long can you go on tires?
Well, we'd like to change tires in maybe 20 more laps.
Okay, he and crew chief Bob Johnson noodling it out. Ken, with these new pit rules, nobody's really quite sure when they want to stop.
Here you see Kyle Petty out in front and Rick Mast in the number 1. Rick Mast is an incredible story. His father-in-law is A.K. Dillard, great promoter and car builder on short tracks up in Virginia. and he's his father-in-law. And those two had made a pretty good combination, won a lot of races over a lot of years. They finally put together a car to go asphalt racing. This year, of course, Rick Mast has left the family and is racing for another family, the Jackson brothers. They have two cars here. Richard in control of the number 1. His brother Leo, the number 33 car that's being driven by Harry Gant today. Rick Mast making an outstanding run. Back with you at Daytona after 106 laps completed. And the leader, Kyle Petty in car number 42. Pontiac up in front. Second spot is Rick Mast in car number 1, the Oldsmobile. Then in the third position is Ricky Rudd in the Hendrick Chevrolet. Going in the fourth position, that would be Bobby Hillen, having a great run in the Moroso car. And back in the fifth position is Robbie Gordon. Now, he just pitted a moment ago, so he's dropped a few. Let's take a look at that run down a little further back. Terry Labonte was then running in 6th, well up in the lead lap. The 7th position was Earnhardt, stable right where he has been for the past 15-20 laps. Joel Ruttman has fallen a bit off the pace from Earnhardt, but remains in 8th. Then Davey Allison is in 9th, and rounding out the top 10, Ernie Urban. Coming onto pit road right now is number 3.
And we understand that he might take on 4 tires, Ken. He's going to go a lap down, even if he takes on 2. Let's go to the pits and Mike Joy.
Ned, it will be a 4-tire change, and this crew has long been the best of the business. Kirk Shelmerdine on that right front as David Smith jacks the car. Hank Jones carrying tires around to the right side. Scott Kluka is already loosening up the left side lug nuts. They'll be off by the time Smith gets the jack around and that side of the car up. Right sides are done. Cecil Gordon rolls the left front tire up. Shelmerdine plants it, hits the 5 lug nuts. Down goes the car, and Earnhardt's away. Quick 4-tire stop.
I'll tell you how quick, 23 and 9/10 seconds on our clicker.
Good pit stop. Now, of course, he has gone a lap down, but those 4 tires should really let him run a good, maybe a second or second and a half faster per lap than he has been running.
And that stop was made at lap 111.
Now, he needs to run a good second a lap quicker than he was running, because he was already losing half a second to the leader. So, but now he's a lap down, so he wants to try and get back with those guys on the track and then pray for yellow.
Leader Kyle Petty.
Now Kyle Petty starting to pull away a little bit from Rick Mast in the number 1 car there.
And he's coming up on his dad, Richard Petty, which would put Richard a lap down. Just in case he does pass him, Richard currently running in the 14th position.
STP in-car camera giving us these pictures from Richard Petty's car number 43, which has come off the pace. He's back in 14th position.
You can see him moving his head around. That camera is on his helmet. You see Dick Trickle going by on the inside. There's Hud Strickland going by on the inside. Kyle's could be pretty close behind those 2 cars. And you can see how much moving around his head is doing inside that car. And you can see exactly where Richard Petty is looking.
There's his son Kyle going through.
Yep, putting Richard a lap down.
Dick Trickle, that 66 car, although he's down a bit, has been going very well the last few laps, hanging right onto that lead group.
Yes, he came in, changed tires, got a lap down. Now he has unlapped himself, and here goes Rick Mast, the car number 1 around Richard Petty.
27 on to pit road.
Hillen was running 4th. And you know, Ken, you mentioned that Earnhardt came in at 111 laps, and I think this is the first tire change for Ricky Rudd, for Bobby Hillen as well. So that means that they can go the rest of the way as far as tires are concerned, because they've already gone past the halfway point.
Kowicki going a lap down in car number 7 as Kyle Petty continues to put it on him. The First Brands people gave Richard Petty a $1 million annuity here in the course of Speed Weeks. Take a look at this running order after 100 laps with all the competitors in it. And Kyle was saying the other day that he would be willing to do everything he could to help his father in this race, block for him, do whatever needed to be done. As he knew he was the heir apparent.
Because to get his hands on the remainder of the minute.
Right.
Exactly. This kid's no fool.
Here's Richard away. Tire 14-second stop, Ned.
Good pit stop, taking on left side tires this time. Reaches up and puts his goggles back in place. got long. He keeps it in third gear. They have a very high ratio third gear, and they use those here at Daytona and at Talladega because with the restrictor plates, when you change into fourth gear, if you don't have the engine revved up good in third, it'll just kill the engine. So they, in fact, now he's just now going to fourth gear, and he's already
long second gear is what they got as well.
Well, they got a long second and a long third.
Yeah.
He was almost into turn 3 when he went into fourth gear.
He'd probably have a second gear here, almost like their high gear would be at someone like Martinsville or Bristol.
Oh yeah, probably even higher than that. Yeah.
Richard Childress is telling me he thought that they would be shifting into high gear coming out of 2 with the car number 3. You saw Richard carry it 2/3 of the way down the backstretch before he got it all wound out. There's the leader, Kyle Petty. Let's go to Dave Despain.
Now, back when in-car cameras were brand new, we saw this man drive to victory here on CBS in the Daytona 500. Cale Yarborough now owns a car that just drove by the leaders there a minute ago and unlapped yourself. Dick Trickle, the driver. Now you're backing up. What's happened, Cale?
Well, we're pushing a little bit, Dave, but he's running real good. The car's had a little bit of push all day, but Kyle's got to stop here shortly, so that'll put us back in contention, I think.
Now, I got to ask you, he's got that reputation. You know, he was the oldest rookie to ever come down the bike. Will he take any advice from a guy like you who's won this thing a time or two?
Well, I hope he will, because I'm sure giving him some.
That is Cale Yarborough in the pits of Dick Trickle.
Oh, good. Now, because the thing is that we've just had the tire stop of Earnhardt and Richard Petty with just 80-odd laps to go. Of course, the one guy who changed early and really benefited from it was Kyle Petty. Is he going to try and stop again, or will he try and make these tires run through the rest of the race?
I don't know. I think that he'll probably take on left side tires. If he has to make the green flag pit stop for fuel, then I think he'll take on left side tires, yeah.
Joe Ruttman has now taken over in second place. Ernie Urban has moved up to third. Darrell Waltrip is in fourth, and now we're seeing the leader coming in. Here's Dave Despain as Kyle Petty motors down pit road.
A planned pit stop, a scheduled pit stop, but a potential problem. They plan to change the right side tires for Kyle Petty. Here is the car on pit road, the crew going to work. Len Scala over on the far side on the jack, and Felix Sabates, the car owner, an interested bystander. The problem is this car does not have low gear. How well will Petty leave? He killed the engine. 14-1 on the pit stop. They had to push to get him going. Now that is legal. Felix Sabates is the team owner here, and we'll get a quick word from him if we can. They have lost low gear in Petty's car. Felix, you got to be pretty jazzed about the way things are going, but you do have a problem, no low gear.
Yeah, later on in the race, we're going to be in big trouble because we don't have the low gear. So when we stop the next time around, we probably end up going a lap down.
You didn't get a lap down there. You could win this thing.
Well, we got it back one time, but we had a new fresh set of tires, so when we got our lap back, now we're going to put 2 left side tires. So I don't know. It's a long afternoon. Maybe we'll catch a break here and there, but right now we're looking good. It's just that the tire situation is going to hurt us with our gear.
Now they have right side tires fresh, but they have no low gear. Remember the rule, you cannot push a car that has the motor running. However, when the engine died on pit road, that then made it legal for them to push the car and get it refired.
As Kyle Petty came in, Joe Ruttman took first place, but in front of Joe Ruttman was the number 3 car of Earnhardt. That now puts him back in the lead lap.
That's my opinion, Ken. We'll have to wait for official scoring, but according to our calculations, it would put Earnhardt back in the lead lap. And Ruttman has yet to take on any tires. He's going to have a pit stop coming up before too long, but Dale Earnhardt has 4 tires at the 111th lap.
Leader, Joe Ruttman. Here's the 11 car. And let's see if he's back in and going slowly. And now Ruttman is going to pit. This will put Ernie Urban into first place. Darrell Waltrip will move up into second.
Very close to Ernie Urban, too.
Davey Allison comes back to third at the line. Rusty Wallace fourth. Sterling Marlin fifth. Harry Gant comes to sixth.
Now this will be a 4-tire change for Joe Ruttman, as Earnhardt did. Earnhardt made it in, what, 22, 23 seconds? 23. Let's see how long it takes them. It's going to take them longer. They're already past the time that Earnhardt was in. In fact, Earnhardt goes across the start-finish line, and Ruttman just now coming out of the pit, so he's going to be at least a third of a lap behind Earnhardt once he gets up to speed.
Joe Ruttman is giving up first place. They're the leaders. Ernie Urban in first. Darrell Waltrip now second. Davey Allison to third. So it's Chevy, Ford, Pontiac, Ford in the top 5 positions. Ernie Urban's number 4, which started outside of the front row today, getting the lead for the first time.
And then got penalized by a stop-and-go penalty. Was about 2/3 of a lap behind at one time. Then the cautions helped him to catch up, and has made good pit stops as he moves around Terry Labonte and Joe Ruttman as they try to get their speed back up.
With 127 of 200 laps complete in the Daytona 500, Ernie Urban has the lead. Second spot belongs to Darrell Waltrip coming along, the '89 winner. Then in third is Davey Allison, who started on the pole. The 4th position is Rusty Wallace in the new Roger Penske team Pontiac. Then in the 5th spot, Sterling Marlin's number 22, the Junior Johnson Ford. The 6th position is Harry Gant. Running in the 7th position, Kyle Petty. Going 8th on the field is Dale Jarrett in the Wood Brothers number 21 Ford. In 9th is Dick Trickle for Cale Yarborough. And then Rick Mast in number 1. Mike Joy with this update.
Davey Allison, bit of brake smoke pouring from that left front as the crew goes to work changing 4 tires. Devin Barbie, the front tire changer. Eric Horn on the right rear. Joey Knuckles already had those lugs loose on the left side on the back. A little slow there with the front. Now that tire's in place. Norman Koshimuzu has a second can of gas in. They are done. He is down and away.
26, almost 27 seconds on Davey Allison as he gets back out here in that Ford Thunderbird that qualified at nearly 196 miles an hour. The STP race cam carrying us down into turn number 1. Car number 3 at this point stays as fast as anything on the track. The leader's going around at, this is the leader, Ernie Urban, at 188, and Earnhardt still running laps at 191.
Ken, I'm sure that Davey Allison's crew and many others down there have had the stopwatch on Dale Earnhardt since he put those 4 new tires on. He has gained more than 20 seconds on the front runners. So they saw what the 4 tires did for him. So Davey Allison said, hey, I need 4 tires on this thing.
Mike Joy.
Alan Kulwicki getting a little service here with military precision as they put right side tires on his Thunderbird. The effort's dedicated to the U.S. Army today. Little chassis adjustment, 1 whole round taken out of the left rear. Getting that second can of gas in, and crew chief Paul Andrews tipping up the spoiler just a little bit for more downforce on the rear. This pit stop a little slower than the ones we saw earlier. Done now on the left front, but they're a little slow on the left rear. Had to wait for the fueling to be done, and he's going to get the penalty. Kulwicki in the penalty box, gets the 15 seconds, and now he's away.
Well, Mike, keep your eyes open. We understand the leader, Ernie Urban, will be coming in 1 more lap, and he, too, will get 4 tires on his Chevrolet. As a matter of fact, it looks like he's slowing coming off of turn 4 now, and Ernie Urban will be headed towards the pits.
Ernie Urban was just about half a minute in front of Dale Earnhardt, so it'll be interesting to see if he can, well, he won't be able to stay in front, that's for sure.
As Ernie Urban comes in, this will move Waltrip, number 17, into the lead. Sterling Marlin will go to second, Rusty Wallace to third, Kyle Petty to fourth. Rick Mast will come up into the 5th spot. Earnhardt was running back in 10th. This will put him into 9th. Here's Dave Despain.
This is a team that has not had as much talk about it this week as perhaps it has deserved. It is Ernie Urban who sat on the outside pole coming to the 4-tire stop. And again, same decision. They've had the clock on Earnhardt. They got a good quick stop, and they're pumped about it. 24.8 seconds to stop as they go to 4 tires on Ernie Urban, the lead automobile. The crew chief on this car is Tony Glover, and we'll try to get a word with Tony. But consider this team has never raced at Daytona with a Chevrolet in the 500. They've never raced with radial tires. They crashed here last July when the radials were used, and it's a brand new driver, and yet here they are leading the 500, and Tony Glover's pretty jazzed about it. Let's talk to him. Tony, you got to be pretty excited about where you stand right now.
Yeah, right now everything's going pretty good for us.
hopefully we won't get another caution, and if we don't, I think we might have things looking our way.
You got the rhythm of the race coming to you. What do you think about this pit rule? It seems to be working your way right now.
Well, so far I think we've ran 130 laps and I've aged 3 years, so I don't know.
He doesn't know if he likes it, but for the moment, it appears to be very successful.
Running well, Ernie Urban and the Morgan McClure team. 17 cars in the lead lap. Car number 17 leading the 500. The 89 winner, Darrell Waltrip. There you see him in the lead going down into turn number 1. And this is a team that really came into the season. That's the first time that he's owned his own team in Winston Cup racing. Derek Cope, last year's champion of the race, right behind him. Not too much said about Darrell all week, but he's looking very stout right now. Second place car to him with these pit stops would be car number 2. Car number 2 would now be your second place car.
And that, of course, is Rusty Wallace, car number 2. New number for him this year. Fans would remember him having number 27 on his car for many years. But a new team, new number.
Car 22 that had been in second place, Marlin in, and now the number 2 takes over. And here you see coming down the number 26 car. Brett Bodine's machine still hanging in here after he had a wild experience right where he crashed out of turn 4 back on Thursday. Had the car get loose on him again today.
Darrell Waltrip running just about 6 seconds in front of the car that is number 2 on the track behind him, which, as you've already said, is Rusty Wallace in the Pontiac number 2. Roger Penske making a return to NASCAR racing. Darrell Waltrip won this race before. Took him a long time to win it, like Dale Earnhardt. I guess he thought he was never going to win it, and of course finally he managed to pull it off. And
17 years it took him to win that first one.
Well, closing up on Robbie Gordon to try to put the Ford driver a lap down is Darrell Waltrip. 140 of 200 laps are complete. Darrell Waltrip is in command of the Daytona 500. And here is Sterling Marlin, who had been running in 3rd place, now bringing his car onto pit road, and the number 2 car of Rusty Wallace that had been running 2nd also pitting. So both the 2 and the 22 are in at the same time. Must be they intend to get back together. Great pit stop, 12 and 7/10 seconds, Ned.
Yes, a great pit stop, and Rusty Wallace made a 15-second pit stop, so they do go out pretty well together. Looks like Sterling Marlin will beat him out. Rusty might not be able to pick up his draft, but here is the leader, Darrell Waltrip.
Just in front, Derek Cope, Ned, and he's made up a lap. He's now back in the lead lap, giving us 18 machines in the lead lap.
Yeah, he would like to see a caution now, so that he could go all the way around the track and catch back up again.
Chad Little's car out back. Here's the 17. In '89, after all those years, he finally tasted victory in the 500. This super speedway has been a treacherous 2.5 miles for Darrell Waltrip over the years. Back in 1983, there was this crash when he suffered a concussion but escaped anything more serious. This past July, he broke his leg in this crash and still limps noticeably, all courtesy of the Daytona track.
It's kind of like the horse that threw you, you know. It's out there in the corral, and you walk out there and you look at it and you say, hey, buddy, I got a little something for you this time. And that's kind of how I feel about it. I have a love-hate relationship with this place. I love to win here, but I hate to come here. And the reason for that is in '83, I had a pretty serious wreck here off of turn 4. In the Busch race here last year on Saturday, I had a pretty serious wreck over here in turn 3 and 4. And in July, I had a pretty serious wreck here in turn 3 and 4. So that's the only turn in racing that's really given me the kind of problems and hurt me before. So every time I go through there, I grunt my teeth real hard and I say, just come on, I can take your best shot.
Darrell Waltrip has said races are won partly by attrition, partly by patience. I've got a lot of patience. Here he is at lap 143, continuing to lead. He also said the other day, he said, I'm going to start the 90s like I did the 80s, Ned, and you remember how he started the 80s.
Well, that was with a lot of wins and 3 championships, so if he can do that, it'd be great.
But he is a car owner now, and he was saying after the 125s, he said, I drove those last 10 laps like a car owner. I intend to drive the 500 only as a driver. Now here's that Robbie Gordon. He's in that lime green car. And Robbie Gordon is a new name you haven't heard too much about. He's out of LA, California, mixing it up with some of these good old boys and looking good. He's a youngster, good-looking guy, and he cut his teeth the same way Rick Mears did in the deserts of Southern California, down in Baja. But you put him in anything with 4 wheels, he goes like a scared rabbit. Here's Chris.
Sterling Marlin and Rusty Wallace made a fuel stop just 4 or 5 laps ago. Unfortunately for them, they don't have enough fuel to go the distance. There's 144 laps on the board. 6 more laps, and anyone who stops can then get to the checkered flag on the amount of fuel. One of the big things that have borne heavily on this race is the fact that the radial tires are getting far better mileage than the old bias pliers did. And that, coupled with green flag changes only, has really changed the character of this event.
Thank you, Chris. Watching Davey Allison here.
Now, David made a 4-tire change, Ken, and went a lap down, so he now is trying to get back in the lead lap if he can move around Darrell Waltrip.
And there you see the 22 car Chris was responding to. Sterling Marlin, part of a new 2-car team for Junior Johnson, and I don't think there's too much happiness with Jeff Bodine about that. You got the feeling all week he didn't put it down, but I don't think he's a happy camper.
I think he would rather see it stay a single-car team. As Hut Strickland goes around, here comes Mark Martin around Waltrip. Boy, he is really slow. He's trying to get into the pits, and he's caught on the outside.
He's pinned up against the ropes here. Now he dives down, and he may make it.
Yeah, that's one of those 2-car teams when the old driver says to the team owner, I think we ought to go back to being a 1-car team. He says, we are. You're out.
Mike Joy.
This is a brand new team for Darrell Waltrip, but it's full of veterans. His Jack Band, Jeff Hammond is his crew chief. Doug Rickard changes the right front. He's a veteran crew chief. Bruce Hayes will change the right rear. Bob Sutton looking at those left tires, while Tom McDermott gasses the car and Ron McLeod has the catch can. They are just on the confidence window here at lap 146. Waltrip will have to go 54 laps, 135 miles to finish the 500 and look for a repeat of 1989 when he stretched his fuel all the way to victory lane. Finishing up on the left rear, stalls at 26.5. Last burp of gas, and he bumps it along on the starter and pulls away.
Looked like more than 5 men to me. A pit wall at one stage there, but I could have just been miscounting them.
17 Waltrip falling back. He ran 58 laps between pit stops. He could probably go the distance. The race summary shows 365 complete. We've had 8 leaders. They've swapped the lead 16 times, and the speed's down at 140 miles an hour. We've had 6 cautions, and 9 cars have officially retired from the event. As we look at the attrition here, Greg Sachs is out, Swindell, Spencer, early incidents in the race. Jimmy Means lost an engine. Michael Waltrip's engine went sour. Jeff Purvis is out. And engine problems, the story on Backus, Marcus, and Shepard. 50 laps to go, gentlemen. Ned Jarrett first. Your thoughts about how this race can be decided?
Well, I think Dale Earnhardt is in the best position right now because he put on those 4 tires. There he is running now in the 3rd position in the lead lap. There's Dale Jarrett right behind him, but he's a lap down. And he does have to stop one more time for fuel, but if a caution should come out, you know, he can do that and no more problems and go the rest of the way. However, Kyle Petty is the man out front at the moment.
But if there's not a caution, Waltrip looks better by the moment.
Well, Kyle Petty, of course, did change his tires many laps ago, so he probably won't be wearing his tires out as such, but we see what a difference the new tires makes to the performance of the cars. And towards the end of this race, his tires are going to be getting pretty skinny.
Kyle Petty staying first. Rick Mast is second. Dale Earnhardt is up to third. Ricky Rudd is fourth. Ernie Urban fifth. Bobby Hillin sixth. Let's get an opinion from Ned Jarrett on the new pit procedure. How do you feel about it? Well, to me, it's making some confusion for the fans in the race.
It's making confusion to some degree, Ken. However, we've had the long green flag run here, and that's not any different than in the past. But what has happened, if they had been able to change tires during the early caution periods, we would have seen the cars running much closer together. I think that it has spread the field out.
It's done the one thing it was supposed to do. It's been a harmless pit road all day. And I really feel that by July, NASCAR is going to get a computer setup going. And this will be just a brief moment in history. And it will be something we'll be talking about. David, your thoughts?
Well, I have to agree with Ned. It certainly has spread the race out. And it did catch a couple of the drivers out very badly early on. One of them being, of course, Bill Elliott, when he had to go round and lose at least 2 laps because of the 1 lap penalty, and the 1 lap he tried to stay out and make his tire last, and it obviously wasn't going to. He is not in the hunt, so it probably hasn't had a long-term effect on his result today, but it obviously has a great potential for messing up someone's day badly.
How about it, Mike Joy?
Well, Ken, down here along pit road, there's been a lot of confusion all day. Which is the blue lap, which is the orange lap? I understand in the races coming, NASCAR will put up a light that can be seen by everyone along pit road to help sort that out. But teams up and down here are looking for drafting partners so that they can stop and have someone to run with when they go back out on the racetrack. I think it is going to take some adapting before these new safety procedures are worked out to the benefit of the drivers and the racing. How about it, Dave Despain?
Well, I think the greatest confusion that I've seen down here today has been who's running where. Where's my team? Where are we on the leaderboard? And that has nothing to do with the new rules. Anytime in Winston Cup racing that you get a long, long run of green flag racing, especially with some pit stops and the field gets strung out, people get confused. I don't attribute that to the new rule. I think when you get a yellow flag, this field's going to bunch up and you're going to get another spectacular finish, just like in the past. All day long, we have not seen any crowding on pit road. That was the goal. But the key to solving this whole mess is get that electronic scoring system, get the scoring system up to date with the rest of this sport, and then move on down the road.
Moving on down the road right now, it's Kyle Petty in first through 151 laps, with Rick Mast second, Earnhardt third, Irvin fourth, and Ricky Rudd fifth. Followed by Bobby Hill in sixth, Joe Ruttman, good seventh, Sterling Marlin eighth, Davey Allison ninth, and Rusty Wallace in the 10th position. Looking further back, Derek Cope is 11th, and those cars are all in the lead lap, as well as Waltrip now. Then Richard Petty a lap down, Harry Gant and Terry Labonte round out the top 15. Chris Economaki, an overview on what we're seeing here in this pit procedure.
Well, we've seen a different kind of Daytona 500, that's for certain. As I said earlier, the radial tires and their great mileage and the fact that they changed them on the green has changed the character of the race. But right now, Dale Earnhardt, who's been out of the running for a good while because of that penalty, is breathing down Rick Mast, and that he should be moving past him into second place within the next couple of laps. And then it's going to be the pitman's work. He's going to have to stop for fuel. And that's going to be the key. I think the race for Dale Earnhardt couldn't be won or lost in the pit.
Well, right now it's going to be won on the track, Chris, because here he is closing on Mast for second position. You're riding at 190 miles per hour in our live CBS Sports coverage of the Great American Race as Earnhardt, who has come so close so many times last year, right into the final corner, ran over a piece of bell housing, cut a tire down, and was an also-ran. Twice has run out of fuel. Had it won in '86. Became Bodine's race. Had it won back in 1980 when Buddy Baker won it. Here he is fighting his way back up on Rick Mast to #1. This for second place as Kyle Petty continues to lead.
We have to thank our guru's son, our offspring, Dale Jarrett, who really has been helping Dale Earnhardt. He's been right behind him, pushing him along. And in fact, Dale got alongside, Dale Jarrett got alongside Dale Earnhardt going down the straight there.
Yeah, and that hurt him. Now he's given Dale Jarrett the sign that he's coming into the pits. Dale Earnhardt making what should be his final pit stop right now.
And Dale Jarrett is running in 21st position as he comes by in the Wood Brothers car. With Earnhardt
16th, Ken, he has moved up on the pit stops as Earnhardt comes into the pits. You see him gearing down as he comes into the pits, and Dave Despain is there.
All week long, the conversation, can anybody beat Dale Earnhardt? Now the somewhat battered left front of that Chevrolet very much in view here as the pit stop, the final pit stop of the race for Dale Earnhardt will include a right side tire change, and they jam the fuel in. Now they'll come to the left side. No, they will just do the right. 15 seconds, 15.3 seconds for Dale Earnhardt. Let's quickly check with Kirk Shelmerdine, crew chief on the car. They're doing their cleanup after the stop. Kirk, you got a good clean stop. Question is now, can you catch him and get to the front?
Depends on what the other cars have to do. I think a lot of them have to stop. A couple of them don't. So it just depends on whether we can catch them or not.
Back with you once again at the Daytona International Speedway with 161 laps now complete. Kyle Petty seeking his first Daytona 500 win. Here's car number 27, Bobby Hillin Jr. on pit road. Dave Despain.
Jeff Bodine has just been lifted from the number 11 car, which was wheeled behind the pit wall after an extended pit stop. And Bodine appears to have been overcome by heat or perhaps exhaustion here. We'll check with team spokesman Bob Latford. What's up with you?
the fumes were coming into the car from the damage there in the back. It just got to him and he couldn't take it anymore. He pulled it in rather than stay out the track and be a hazard.
The problem began with the damage to the car, which you can probably see on the left side. That penetrated the driver compartment. Let's see if Jeff's up to talking. Jeff Bodine is not feeling very well, and I'm not going to stick the microphone in there. Let's go to Mike Joy instead.
Well, let's talk to another Jeff, Jeff Hammond. He's Darrell Waltrip's longtime crew chief, new team. And Waltrip is in a familiar spot, playing the gas mileage game right to the nth degree. What makes you think that's going to be the winning strategy here?
Mike, there's no guarantee on anything right now, but I figured that we had to kind of like try to run our own race, and that's what we talked about earlier, was we could get where we could make 2 or 3 stops. That's what we wanted to try to do. Everybody else was looking for dance partners and trying to get in and get out. We just finally decided, hey, we need to run our own race. And there was enough cars strung out all of this racetrack. Hopefully we'll be able to get the right people at the right time. If we don't get a caution, I think we're in pretty good shape.
If the caution comes out, he catches up. Some of these other cars go in and get fuel. Will you stay on the track for position?
Well, that's why I say we're in pretty good position. Either way it does go. If it goes green, it might be a little easier, but if it does, caution does come out, we'll just, we'll be in pretty good track position overall, and some of these other guys will have to stop anyway. So, hopefully it'll pay off for us.
He's played this track position gas mileage game before and won.
Meanwhile, Kyle Petty at number 42 continues to lead. Kyle Petty has led the most laps thus far. He's up to 48 laps that he's commanded this event. Ernie Urban now stays in second place. Joe Ruttman maintains third. Sterling Marlin's in fourth, and holding fifth, Davey Allison. Taking a look at the second 5 out here. Rusty Wallace 6. And Derek Cope being shown in 7th, with Darrell Waltrip leading some time ago, now in 8th. Dale Earnhardt in 9th, and Rick Mast in 10th. And he's right on the tail end of that lead lap. Nip and tuck back there with the 42.
In fact, I believe Kyle Petty just went around Rick Mast and put him. No, he didn't. Rick is still up in front of him. So 10 cars on the lead lap. And the fans are wondering about Bill Elliott, 2-time winner of this. He is 12 laps down, currently being shown in 24th position, and Mark Martin is in 23rd position, 6 laps down.
Kyle Petty coming in, 42 on pit road.
Should be his last pit stop.
As they complete lap 169. Kyle Petty is on pit road, and here's Mike.
Ken, they're not changing tires because they're betting he's only going to need a tank and a half of gas, and they can't get the tires changed in that time. Richard Bostic was the first can. Here goes the second one. Taking a while, but they want to make sure they get it all. They did. Now, Kyle does not have low gear, so he bumps it along out of the pits, and now he's going, but he's going to lose a lot of time getting back up to speed.
Well, that did cost him a lot.
Critical pit stop for Kyle Petty. Ken Schrader looks like he's trying to help him.
Schrader pushing him along.
He is pushing him out, yeah. Trying to get that speed up.
Now, did Schrader not overtake him there in the pit lane because of this rule about overtaking the pit lane?
Well, the overtaking situation is when they come into the pits.
Right.
When they go out, they're on their own.
But he certainly seemed to stop and wait for him.
Ernie Urban's number 4 now takes the lead, lapping Bobby Hamilton. 170 laps are complete. Urban is first, and Joe Ruttman has come back to second. Sterling Marlin is third, Davey Allison fourth, Wallace now fifth, Waltrip to 6th, Cope to 7th, Earnhardt to 8th, 9th to Kyle Petty, and then Rick Mast in 10th. 1 lap down, Harry Gant is 11th. Dale Jarrett is now 12th.
Now those cars have gotten back in the lead lap, Ken, after
the pit
Kyle
stop,
Petty made his pit stop. Yes.
That'll get us back to 13 cars in the lead lap.
Right.
That would put Dick Trickle also back into the lead lap. It's been right on the verge of in
Dick
and out.
Trickle's been running really well. He must have been listening to all that advice that Cale Yarber's been giving him.
Well, now Ernie Urban has passed Dick Trickle, so he is a lap down.
Again, yeah.
So 12 cars in the lead lap at this moment.
Cale Yarborough always uses Junior Johnson's advice. Says it over and over again. Go to the front.
Yeah.
Yep, nothing wrong with that. That's what racing's all about, I guess.
There's car number 75. That's Ruttman.
And that right behind him is Davey Allison. Is that Davey Allison?
Dave, and you saw the interval there, and now you see Ruttman in the second spot, but directly behind that 75. Oh, here's the number 10 car in. Derek Cope, who's been having a terrific run here today. Minding his own business. Buddy Parrott on the radio, and a 13-second stop gets him out here. Buddy Parrott's the crew chief for Bob Whitcomb, and Bob Whitcomb is wearing his red jacket for car number 10. He wore it out here when they had a drawing to get in the Busch Clash. Then he wore it the day that they drew for the pole. When it came to the 125s, he left the jacket at home. They had a lot of trouble. He's wearing it today.
Ernie Urban's got a 12-second lead at the moment. But it's a real good race for second spot between Ruttman, Marlin, and Davey Allison.
Now we're looking at second place. There you see Joe Ruttman, and right behind him, Davey Allison in that third position. And coming with them is the 27 car, Bobby Hillen. Had a really good run with that machine this afternoon. 24 laps to go. Ernie Urban out of Modesto, California, who packed his things up, got in his pickup truck, and came east a few years back. Ran some races in the Automobile Racing Club of America, ARCA, which is many times a preliminary event for major Winston Cup races, like at Pocono and Atlanta. He won a race up at Atlanta and ARCA and was first discovered. And he made good friends with a guy that has paid off for him. A guy that really kept him in the East and kept him racing. Some fellow named Earnhardt.
Dale Earnhardt did help Ernie Urban when he first came east, and certainly has shown that he had a lot of driving talent. His dad, Vic Urban, was a race driver on the West Coast. Never got to Winston Cup racing. He might have participated in a few of those West Coast Winston Cup races many years ago, but has shown a lot of talent.
And down there around El Cajon and El Toro.
Ernie Urban showing a lot of talent at the moment and leading, but Dale Earnhardt, his buddy, is closing in on Darrell Waltrip for 6th place. But we think that everyone ahead of them, which obviously includes Ernie Urban, should have to pit again, whereas we're almost sure that Waltrip and Earnhardt won't.
Well, they say, yeah, they say that Earnhardt's going to run close, but because of Waltrip, he's going to have to try to stretch it.
Waltrip, we're pretty sure, can run the distance because he's already done it once this afternoon, but it's going to be nip and tuck.
That's the case. 178 laps are now complete. There you see Waltrip in the 17 car, and Earnhardt is right behind him. Waltrip is 5th. Earnhardt is 6th. Kyle Petty now finds himself in 7th. The 90 car running a lap down. The Don Levy Ford. And Robbie Gordon, for his first time in this 500, has put on an outstanding run, as has Bobby Hillen in that 27, also a lap down.
Here's Sterling Marlin, the 3rd place car, coming into the pits. What should be his last pit stop? He perhaps will just take on fuel. We'll see. Yep, and they're making a chassis adjustment on the left rear, tightening that car up just a little, or loosening that car up just a little bit.
And away. Sterling Marlin, who looks for his first 500 in just 8 seconds, Ned.
Quick stop.
They just needed a dash of fuel, a little less than a can, perhaps.
Here you see Urban in the Morgan McClure Chevrolet, still out in front. Won his first Winston Cup race just a year ago, but he's going to win a lot more. Guy is good. Here's Mike.
They've been a bit nervous here in the Ernie Urban pit. They could go to about lap 182 on this tank of fuel, hoping for a caution flag. But Tony Glover, you going to leave him out, or are you going to need to bring him in?
No, we have to pit again. There's no...
Driver's on the horn.
There's no way we can make it on fuel. We're going to have to stop again. But...
You going to try to wait for a caution?
Well, no, the caution really won't matter. We're going to pit again anyway, I guess about lap 182.
Just as we called it. Yeah.
That's only a couple laps away, yeah.
With 18 laps to go, Ernie Urban, the leader, will pit. The 75 car, Joe Ruttman behind him, is in 8th position, now a lap down. Under caution here at Daytona after 460 miles. There have been 8 different leaders. Lead changes, 18 of them. Average speed, a meager 155 miles per hour today. 7 cautions, 30 laps, and 10 cars have fallen by the wayside. Those cars are out of the race. We can't give you the, well, I can give you Richard Petty for sure. He's the latest. Jeff Purvis is out, Swindell, Greg Sachs, Jimmy Spencer, Buddy Baker. Michael Waltrip is out. Those are some of the folks that will not be around for the checkers today. Buddy Baker, Dave Marcus, Morgan Shepherd, Jeff Bodine from fatigue. We saw him in real trouble down there on pit road. And here's Richard Petty, car number 43, shaking his head just a few moments ago as they work on the back end of his car. Let's look again at what happened here on the back straightaway to bring around this 7th caution of the day.
Well, we see Petty's car already spinning around and backs into the outside retaining wall. You see the damage that was done to his Pontiac. He gets it going straight and then it spins around again. Down on the inside of the track.
Yeah, done that car no good at all, but we don't quite know what set it going.
Working on Richard Petty's car. Big story in the Charlotte Observer by Tom Higgins yesterday, talking about the potential that 91 might be the last full season for Richard Petty. And then he would be running a going away tour and run limited events after that. How do you feel about that, Ned?
Well, Richard Petty has said for a number of years when that question is asked, he said, now when I decide that I'm going to make a change in my career, I'll get everybody together and tell them about it. But Tom Higgins, you know, he's a great writer, and he usually has a lot of substance to what he puts in the paper. So it'll be interesting to see what does happen.
There you see the 7-time winner of the 500. Had such a great run in the 125s. Beat out Hut Strickland by inches for 2nd place to the line. Right now, it's a long afternoon for the King. Chris?
Okay, now during this yellow flag, Davey Allison pulled into the pits, and that gave the lead to Rusty Wallace in Roger Penske's number 2 car. There's 13 laps left in this competition. How long they'll be going slow out there, I don't know. This is the first time in Roger Penske's racing history, I think, where he is up in a suite watching his car race. Over the years, in all of his events, Penske has been down in the pits with a hands-on situation. He told his crew before the race that I hired you to do a job. I'm not going to be able to go to all the races. I'm going to go upstairs and watch. And with him is his Indianapolis winning buddy, Rick Mears. So Rusty Wallace, for the first time today, is in the lead.
All right, here's how they run at 186 laps. Wallace, Pontiac first, Davey Allison Ford second, Waltrip third, Earnhardt fourth, Ernie Urban fifth. Getting set for the green to come out when they come by this time. Field in the back straightaway, lap cars on the inside, cars in the lead lap on the outside, of which there are 10. Mike Joy.
Tim Morgan is one of the owners of the Ernie Urban car, and he came out of self-imposed pit crew retirement to gas it today. And on the green flag stop during our commercial, Ernie stopped that gas filler right on your belt buckle. He couldn't have done a better job, and you got him out quickly.
Yeah, Ernie did a great job. He's been doing a good job for us.
Well, you hit it, though.
I don't want to take too much credit for that.
Okay, let's go to Dave Despain.
Robert Yates is sole owner of Davey Allison's car. They started from the pole today. He used to build engines at one time for 25% of the field. You had a big cheer when that yellow came out. You needed that quick free stop for gas. Now can you outrun him on the racetrack?
Well, not many laps left, and we don't have that good position right now, so I hope we can do it.
All right, let's get back up top for the restart.
Coming down to the line, ready to take green. Final moments, 500. 188 laps complete as they come to the stripe. 12 to go. And it's Wallace, Waltrip, Earnhardt, Urban, Kyle Petty, the top 5, Rick Maston, 6, Joe Ruttman, 7, Sterling Marlin, 8, Derek Cote, 9, Davey Allison back there in 10th as they wheel down into the first turn.
Ken, I wonder if Rusty Wallace has enough gas to go. I mean, we're told that when he pitted last, there was something like 60 laps to go. And I don't know if he can make it. That's stretching it a long way, so we'll just see. But he's got more than gas to contend with right now.
Here comes the man in black, Earnhardt to the inside. Trying to win the race he's never won. 48 Winston Cup victories. But the Daytona 500s elude him. He's won everything else here. The 400 in July.
Whoa,
one car in the wall. Wallace slams the wall on the outside. Another car breaking loose. Derek Cope spinning to the line.
And Darrell Waltrip in the pits.
Darrell Waltrip in trouble.
Derek Cope.
4 more cars right here at the start finish line. Blowing tires. Caution is out.
Hut Strickland and Harry Gant getting locked in together there. Well, that was one of those calamity corner. Eppes again coming off the corner there.
Harry Gant's car badly torn up.
Ooh, going up.
That's Hut Strickland's number 12, all torn up.
Very badly torn up.
Both ends of his Buick.
Seven cars involved. And look at Waltrip's car, the 17 in the backstretch. Stevie Waltrip, concerned. They made such a run, you could see him coming right up the middle. Darrell Waltrip has been snake bit again by Daytona.
That same corner, the one that he just hates more than any other corner in racing, the same one, got him again. Rusty Wallace appeared to start that off, but I think he got nudged into the wall by that clutch of cars as they came round 4. Obviously, as he had said, 13 laps to go. This was all getting pretty desperate.
He's a little hot right now. He crawls into the ambulance for the mandatory checkup. He looked at his race car first to be sure that it would not be able to continue.
Stevie Waltrip looking down to see when the 17's coming in. It won't be long. He's dropped to the bottom. He's on the apron.
When it
pace
comes
car
in,
waiting for him to bring him down pit road.
When it comes in, it won't be going anywhere. All cars coming in. Pace car leading the entire field onto pit lane.
Because there's so much debris down here in the main straightaway.
Exactly.
There's pieces and parts from the start-finish line, and so both pace cars.
Are they going to stop in pit lane?
Are bringing the field in.
No, they can't stop because or at least the flagman has the cross flags out, so they can't stop in the pits this time around. If they do, they'll be penalized. Of course, Waltrip might not have any choice. The penalty is if you come in and make a pit stop when the cross flags are out, the red flag with the cross on it is that you would go to the far end of the field, and he's going to probably go back there anyway.
When that restart came about, you saw the 17. It looked like Waltrip was really ready to bust out. He moved right to the middle of the track, under the lap cars. Here's Mike Joy.
Ken, they're worried about the oil cooler inside that left front fender, which is now all torn away, and making sure that that isn't damaged. Darrell said he did smell a bit of oil smoke, and he's worried they might have hurt the cooler. It is hurt. You can see the tire has been bent up against it by the force of the sheet metal being slammed backward. That's Doug Rickert trying to shear away sheet metal. Jeff Hammond is assessing the damage. If it's leaking, they still might be able to finish the race. Here's Dave.
This race will come down to a restart that will decide it all. Remember this, the third place car, Kyle Petty, short of gear. Now that shouldn't be a problem. He's not going to have to stop, but the key to this whole race is going to be who can come up off the corner. Remember that all week that has been a big problem for the number 4 car of Ernie Urban. Don't be surprised if Dale Earnhardt wins this thing yet.
So now Earnhardt is first, Ernie Urban is second, Kyle Petty is third, Joe Ruttman is fourth. There's Hut Strickland's number 12. We saw him trying to drive it around, thrashing that car that is torn front and back. And they're now trying to get him out of that Bobby Allison car. As you watch these replays.
There we see Rusty Wallace really seemed to be all on his own when he set. We'll have to have a look at that again, I'm afraid.
The radio is saying he feels he was tagged by Kyle Petty. We will need to look again.
We need to go back a little bit further than that to see what happened. What happened? Cope, see, did
Jarrett
the
Cope's car
spun up onto the
Strickland car.
And then that Harry Gant had nowhere to go, and he ran into Strickland.
Bounced him down to the inside.
Okay, here we are. There's Kyle Petty down on the inside, the green car.
Yep.
He might have touched Rusty and
just
got him
attacked
around.
the front, didn't he?
Yep.
Took the nose.
And he slams hard down to the inside.
Rusty Wallace owns what, about 24% of that car, and Don Miller, and the majority owner is Roger Penske, but Rusty has a piece of it.
Driver's eye view of the whole ghastly schmozzle as it takes place in front of him.
Rusty Wallace walked to the ambulance, going in for a checkup. Let's look again from this high angle.
That's the 3 cars there, just at the behind the lead car, which is Dale Earnhardt.
There's Kyle down on the inside, and there he does just slip up into maybe touching Rusty just a little bit, and Rusty's car goes out of control, collects Waltrip down on the inside. Then we see the red car of Derek Cope spinning around in the middle of the pack, and then he's going to spin back out in front of the track.
Let's look at it here.
View. Ernie Urban in the yellow car. Yep, he's definitely leaning on the front of that car of Rusty Wallace.
Yep, he did clip him just enough.
Lucky is Rick Mast, unlucky Waltrip.
And unlucky there again, the back of his car coming off the floor there.
One of the unluckiest right there. It's mandatory. They must take them to the field hospital after they get a piece of the wall here. With the caution, Earnhardt may be in shape to finally win this 500. We're down to the final moments of the Daytona 500 for 1991. Circumstances bringing about a shuffle of the leaders once again with 192 complete. Rusty Wallace is out of the hospital, walked in, walked out. Try to get a word with him before this is over. Here's Earnhardt out in front.
7 laps to go.
Billed in the early days is one tough customer. Billed these days as the Intimidator, but this track has intimidated him for years. Just could not win here. Is it about to change? We'll see. Ernie Urban has other ideas, as does Kyle Petty in third, Joe Ruttman fourth, Sterling Marlin fifth, Rick Mast sixth, Davey Allison seventh, and Dale Jarrett up to eighth as they wheel away.
There's that lack of a gear hindering Kyle Petty and Ernie Urban slightly as Dale Earnhardt really jumps into a lead.
Ernie Urban really off to a slow start. There's Alan Kwiatkowski down on the inside of him. Dale Jarrett did beat Ernie Urban on the restart there. Dale is a lap down. Dale Jarrett is. He had just made a green flag pit stop when the other caution came out, so he got caught on that situation. Now Ernie Urban drafting up on Dale Jarrett. He wants to get up on the back bumper of Dale Earnhardt.
That leaves 7 cars in the lead draft.
Kyle Petty dropping back quite a bit there, but if he hasn't got that low gear, it takes a lot of getting these cars wound up. 3,500-pound car.
7 cars in that lead lap. Earnhardt stays first. Ernie Urban in second. Here's Davey Allison coming up to third. Kyle Petty in fourth. Now Kyle drops back, and it's Joe Ruttman into fourth. Look at this run down the inside. Car number 4 sliding through, and Ernie Urban planks it in there.
Davey Allison took him through, helped him get through there. And now Davey Allison's running right behind Dale Earnhardt. And behind him is Troy Ruttman.
Like that, Joe Ruttman.
I keep calling him Troy Ruttman.
Well, Troy was a race driver. He won the Indianapolis 500.
Davey Allison up on the outside. Davey Allison makes a run on Earnhardt for second place. The 4 to the high side. Chevy on the inside and Chevy out in front.
Long way to go around now.
As they come back to the line, this time Ernie Urban. Is this going to be an upset? We'll see. 28 and 3 are locked up side by side, and as they run wheel to wheel, Ernie Urban says goodbye, gang, and pulls 3 car lengths out in front.
Boy, Dale Earnhardt's got tires that are fresher than Ernie Urban's too. He pitted more recently than Ernie, about 25 laps less mileage on his tires, so in theory he should be slightly better off.
Yeah, I think something wrong with Earnhardt's car, that maybe he has a tire going down or something. It just doesn't look as smooth in the turns. He and Davey Allison touch going down the backstretch into turn 3. Earnhardt trying to hang on, but I don't know, that car just not working in the turns like it did earlier.
Coming about out of turn number 4. Down to the line. 196 laps complete this time by. Ruttman drops to the inside. Remember, his best finish here at Daytona has been third. He's had some seconds on other tracks. Third was his best run here. And look, they're still locked side by side.
And of course, that's just playing right into the hands of Ernie Urban. At this stage of the game, there's only 4 laps to go. 4.5 laps to go 4 laps to go next time by. Davey Allison, Dale Earnhardt locked side by side. Is Joe Ruttman going to be able to push one of those guys along with him?
Dave Despain.
Well, let's put that question to Kirk Shelmerdine. Is that car as good as you would like to have it?
Well, I think the cars are awful close. We think Dale can do the job for us, and we're just sitting here watching right now.
You know, in a 5-lap race, Earnhardt would be the guy to bet on, but he obviously backed up pretty dramatically when Urban shot through, but there's nothing wrong, huh?
No, we're doing okay.
Okay, well, they say they're confident here. Let's go to Mike Joy.
And they're confident here as Ernie Urban whistles by. Urban was slow coming up through the gears on the restart. Crew Chief Tony Glover said he thought he hung back a little too far. But every time the 2 black cars come past side by side, that's a break for Ernie Urban's chances to win the 500.
And there's trouble off the turn 2.
Ernie Urban in front, and Earnhardt.
Davey Allison. Davey Allison and Dale Earnhardt and Davey Allison both out of this race.
Ernie Urban racing back to the line with a big advantage. There's Davey Allison's car coming to a stop. Ernie Urban coming down. If it finishes here under caution, it'll be the first Californian to win this race since Marvin Panch back in 1961. Ernie Urban's number 4. streaking across the line. Rest of the field coming by. The 28 car about where it rolled. Kept on going not too long ago.
Kyle Petty spinning in turn 4.
Well, look at the damage on his car.
He must have been involved in that fracas back on the back straight.
Now they're trying to get Davey Allison's car off the bank. Ernie Urban, of course, the leader. That all happened behind him.
Ernie Urban is in first. Sterling Marlin now finds himself in second spot. In third, car number 75, Joe Ruttman.
Kyle Petty car's wreathed in smoke there. I don't see any flame, but a ton of smoke. So it looks like this race belongs to Mr. Urban with just 2 laps to go.
$2 million at stake. The number 4 car of Ernie Urban pulling away, getting the advantage. There's Davey Allison stuck on the backside over by the lake, climbing out of car number 28.
Wow. What a turn of events.
Absolutely. Dale Earnhardt fails to win the Daytona 500 again.
Kyle Petty climbing out of number 42, and here's Earnhardt's number 3. Nose bloodied on the black Chevrolet, coming down to make it for pit road.
I think he'll stay out there and just try to ride it out, because I believe this thing might end under caution, Ken, and he should be able to, even though he's down on the bottom of the racetrack. We'll see if he stays out there and is able to continue on around. White flag will come out along with the yellow.
White flag on the track. Last lap. And Chris Economaki.
Well, Davey Allison over there, the Texaco people, the sponsors of his car, when he won the pole position, they scheduled their quarterly business meeting here in Daytona Beach. And the top executives from 16 divisions of Texaco had their meetings here in Daytona and are in the track today. They were hoping Davey could win it. Now they'll go home sad.
Well, they and a lot of other people are going to go home sad, especially the Dale Earnhardt people. There you see the Ernie Urban crew.
Tony Glover.
Boy, he can't contain himself, and I don't blame him. This is it. This is the biggest.
Tony Glover's dad, great racer for many years, of Virginia area, and there you see the disappointment of the Earnhardt crew.
Well, Ernie Urban's been right there all the week. He started this race on the front row and has been running very, very strongly all week.
Still trying to get Davey Allison's car off the bank.
Coming down for the checkers, under caution. Guy out of Modesto, California. Did a lot of racing out on the West Coast. Came over to the East Coast, rode for D.K. Ulrich in '89. Runner-up to Ken Bouchard for Rookie of the Year back in '88. There you see the 22 car, Sterling Marlin. He is in second place. Joe Ruttman's number 75 is in third. And right down on the apron, taking any chances with anything here, Ernie Urban brings her around. And the black number 3, Earnhardt,
is in 5th position.
6 is Dale Jarrett. Rick Mast is going to finish this race in 4th. Ernie Urban coming to the line and will win the 33rd annual 500 at about 55 miles an hour. Thank you. Hand out and waving. Urban in this surprising, unbelievable finish to the 500 as Earnhardt and Allison get tangled up. Kyle Petty on the back straightaway. 3 laps to go.
And there's the jubilation.
Look again at what happened here. On the inside.
Oh, Davey on the outside, Earnhardt down on the inside. Earnhardt's car breaks loose. The rear end of the car they didn't touch before it broke loose, and he gets into Davey just a little bit. Ruttman gets by. Sterling Marlin gets by. Here's Kyle Petty. He gets collected up. Boy, the car going up off the ground.
Nearly squeaked through. Davey Allison really was terribly unfortunate there. He just touched that wall.
From Earnhardt's view, watch what happens.
You see, starting to get loose on him. Hood starts to lift up. There you see Kyle Petty jumping over the hood of the car. That could have been nasty there with Kyle and Earnhardt.
in car of Davey Allison.
He was on the outside of Earnhardt. And there you can see the lick when Earnhardt touched him and it threw Allison out of control.
Here he comes, headed for the infield and into that dirt protective bank to keep him out of Lake Lloyd.
And hit that bank real hard.
Sad ending for Davey Allison, who had sat outside of the front row. And the 1991 winner of the Daytona 500 is Ernie Urban, the Morgan McClure Chevrolet.
For the third time in 3 years, for the third time, we have a first-time winner in the Daytona 500, Ernie Urban. What's it feel like?
Man, I don't know, man. When we come across, I looked at my mirror, saw Dale and Davey get sideways. I remembered there was like 98 laps down, 2 laps left. I said, this can't be true. I just kept waiting for them guys to run me down, and when we had to just, live off the caution. Then we come around and it started running out of gas on the caution. I said, no, this can't happen to me. Got down on the apron and it kept running. But man, all to this crew, this Kodak film, Delco Remy Chevrolet, AC spark plugs. I mean, they did an excellent job in the pits.
Congratulations on a great win. Let's go to Dave Despain.
Give this man a lot of credit. He's come out of this car smiling 2 years in a row, and that can't have been easy. Dale, what happened on the backstretch?
Well, we was giving it everything we could. Ernie got by us there on the short shoot, and me and Davey was racing, trying to get back in position. I couldn't get no help from behind me, and Joe was in and out behind Davey and behind me, and the air got off of me down there in 1 and 2 under Davey, and whether somebody was behind me or what. But I lost control of the car and spun me and Davey, and luckily we kept coming around. We didn't lose any laps there. We finished 5th, so we can worry about our points. But still, we was going for the Daytona 500. We wasn't leading it, so we was going to try to go to the front.
There will be another one of these, won't there?
Hopefully, I'm living for the 1992 Daytona 500. It's a long time off, but we made it back to this one. So, we got a long year ahead of us, and, we won the championship without winning the 500 last year, so we're going to go after them.
Thank you very much. Dale Earnhardt, let's go to Ken Squire.
A year ago, Earnhardt said he would have given $1 million for that last lap over again. I wonder what he would pay for the last 3 laps of this one. Ernie Urban is victorious in the 1991 500. Sterling Marlin has his finest run here, getting 2nd. Joe Ruttman is back in 3rd. Rick Mast finishes 4th, and 5th, Dale Earnhardt. In the 6th position today was Dale Jarrett, followed by Alan Kowicki in 7th with the Army car. And then it was Bobby Hill and Ricky Rudd, and the rookie, Bobby Hamilton, finishes in 10th position.